Welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast. My name is Jerry Jimenez. Once again here with my two compadres. I'm back, guys. Steve Brokoff, Drew Stick. What's up, guys?
Hi, Jerry. That's how my voice feels, how my throat feels. I'm going to struggle through this one. But, yeah, I got no voice.
Dude, my voice feels that way, too. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but we'll get there. Drew, nice hat, man.
Came back. Yeah, I put the hat on, and then my voice came back. You guys need to get yourselves some
perfect.
Hats. But no, I was during dinner, it came back. I was eating some good kind of Tuscan pasta, and so it kind of brought the gravelly out, and slowly I regained my voice. Beer helps too, and martinis. But now I'm on to beer.
Ooh, martinis. Dang. You're always fancy, man. And do me a favor, turn your volume up just a tiny bit too. Just want to make sure that. Oh, whoa, not like that. Don't scream into the mic, Drew. You're gonna scare people. All right, welcome to episode 44. We have a very, very fun-filled, very exciting episode. I don't even know how to put this into words. So I missed the Xolos match, but we're gonna go ahead and recover. We're gonna go that match. You guys will, and I'm just gonna sit back.
We're all still recovering.
No, Steve will, and we'll listen. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm recovering from vacation. And recovering from my first few days of work. So I'm sure we can get into that as well. And we're also going to be talking about, of course, what I would argue is probably one of easily top three. I would say even 1, 2. You can argue maybe the 619 game was also up there. But this last game on a Wednesday, golly, we have to talk about it. Orange County coming to our fortress, trying to take 3 points away, trying to take 1 point away. Almost did. We'll get into that one and let you know how that went if you weren't aware already. If you're listening to this, you probably already know how that went, but we're definitely excited to talk about how we feel about it.
Spoiler alert.
In the stands as well, right? So what are y'all drinking, man? Drew, what did you say you're having some beer today?
I had a martini before this. That helped with the voice because it does the alcohol, the deep alcohol, the gin really restores that. It's terrible the next day, but it helps for podcasting. The Thorn Relay IPA is actually what I'm going with. So our partners down at Thorn with the little raccoon on the bicycle there. Yeah, good cans. Those are new cans. I haven't seen these cans yet, but they look nice. Good looking cans.
Yeah, they do.
And a classic by them. Yeah, good beer.
Yeah, it looks like it's very minimalistic, but very cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And it's got a little pattern in it too, a little hop pattern. So yeah, it's nice.
Oh, cool. I don't see that.
We're describing for you over audio. There you go.
Yeah, if you're not watching us here now live, you should go back and check it out. What are you having? What is that? Bacon and eggs?
Can art. Oh,
bacon and
there's
eggs.
some can art.
Bacon and eggs. Oh, yeah, bacon and eggs. Cheers.
Are they holding hands? Do they hold hands?
Wait,
no.
say that again, Drew?
The bacon and the eggs. They're on the shore. They're just putting their arms up together, though.
Yeah, they are.
Triumphantly.
I'm not sure.
But they're not holding hands. Yeah, they're both holding coffee. They're both holding coffee on the beach.
This might
Okay, that makes sense. There we go. So yeah, this is what we're describing for you. There you go. And then egg is waving. Yeah, bacon's holding coffee. Egg is waving at the beer.
It almost looked to me. You know what? I saw it really quickly, and it almost looked to me like the coffee on Egg's hand was riding a wave. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, but I love this beer.
Probably would have been way cooler. You know, like the bacon's holding his coffee, and the Egg's like, "Hey, my coffee's over there, like surfing the waves and stuff."
Yeah.
Whatever. That's a great beer, by the way. If anybody
I would watch that cartoon.
Phenomenal beer.
Somebody's listening.
But I would
have that beer. Try it.
Yes, and I would say it's a phenomenal beer. But pre-show, Jerry let us know what he is drinking, and it pales in comparison to the beer Jerry is drinking. So I will let him go next.
We escalate.
Oh, well, but wait. I totally interrupted you, and when I interrupt somebody, I always catch myself, and then I remember to go back and ask. Steve, you were saying cheers because this is your last what?
My last bacon and eggs.
Okay, that you had in your fridge.
Yeah.
See, I was paying attention even though I interrupted you, so I apologize for that.
I'm not sure if they have more. They usually drop them kind of randomly. This one was Father's Day, which is a pretty cool thing. But yeah, I don't know. they sometimes they show up at the Pizza Port Bresci Ranch and they got them, and most of the time they don't. But
sometimes it's fun when they do that, and I don't
always
mind it. Like I would much rather it's either seasonal, so we know like okay it's coming, like fall's on the way, so we're gonna get this beer or whatever. Rather than just like randomly, what, this year Father's Day we're releasing bacon and eggs.
Yeah. Well, they have a bacon and eggs day every year, and that's in like February, and they do these, and then the coffee mug releases. And that's usually a thing, but then I think they just kind of release them through the year from there. But
you got to bribe somebody up in Bresci to find out what the real deal is up there, I guess.
Me.
I was gonna say Steve would be the one to know. So you gotta find somebody and then figure it out. But it is a delicious beer. You have to have it if you've never had it before, and get a slice or some garlic buddies while you're at it. Jerry, what are you drinking?
All right.
Yeah,
I'm drinking.
I want to hear this.
A Creative Creature Brewing, one of our partners. I'm drinking their Coco's Per Mortem, which is a rye whiskey barrel aged pastry stout in collaboration with Black Plague Brewing Company, Dark Horse Coffee Roasters, and Hannaberry Spirits. It has Ethiopian coffee, cocoa, maple syrup, and vanilla, and this is a 14.5. It's the second bottle to come out of like the I don't know the
membership.
That's I guess so. Yeah, it's like they number them. This one has a number 2 on it. It's been sitting in my fridge like eyeing me, and I feel like celebrating today a little bit with you guys because not only am I back, I missed you all, by the way, very much so. And
yay! We missed you.
We won yesterday, started a new job, and I'm just happy. And so I'm going to go ahead and luckily I don't have to drink the whole thing now. Like I've made that mistake before. This yeah.
We remember the episode where we tried to drink a whole high ABV beer, and they're not the best episodes.
No, they end great,
but
they end fantastic, regardless. I mean, depending on how you look at it. But shout out to Tom Phillips who gifted this. This is, I'm not even sure what it's called. It's like a German. It's not
like
only
a bottle
a
stopper.
It's
like a
beer
bottle
overnight. It's pretty cool.
It's rad, dude. So I don't have to drink the
It's like metal. It's not like your normal rubberish bottle stopper, right? It's got kind of like a metal clasp to it, so it's very looks like something that's more heavy duty and does a good seal on there. So it looks great.
Yeah,
fantastic.
And I wanted to give a quick cheers to everybody that's spammed me on social media. Thanks, Romel, for reminding me on that.
You were on vacation.
Was the only one that was nice.
We weren't adding you.
Hold on, real quick. If there's anybody listening that is offended by bad words or anything like that, I would suggest you turn this episode off because there is probably going to be some cussing in here. So just give me the heads up, parents. If your kids are listening to this, we deeply apologize. This is not necessarily for children, but if you so wish to let them listen to bad words, then that's on you. Now, cheers, and fuck all of you on social media.
Hey, I was nice. I was nice. I was letting you enjoy your time.
You're my only friend here. Steve is an asshole.
I respected your. He was not the ringleader. I will say that.
It was Travis. I saw that. Yeah. I had to go back, and my phone. I was like, "Where did this start?" Just fucking Travis.
It was too good. It was. I couldn't help myself. But Black Plague and Henneberry, those are both North County. Black Plague, Tony Hawk's brewery. Yeah. It didn't start it, but he's an investor, so it's pretty cool. Some a little tidbit that a lot of people don't know. Pretty cool stuff.
Oh,
but I hope the beer's
cool.
Good.
It's like Birdhouse as a brewery. Essentially, they have a skate ramp in back. Yeah, they just roll the kegs down it, and then they pop up. Yeah.
What, dude? That's rad though. No, that's super cool. I'm glad it's something. Here's the thing. Like, I love supporting. I think we all love supporting our local breweries, establishments, anything that's San Diego and 100% San Diego. We want to support it. And Creative Creature does a lot of collaborations with actually breweries that are not in San Diego necessarily, but they also do a lot with San Diego, and they try to do a lot with San Diego breweries. So it sounds like this is something where they got together with, quite a few San Diego, if not all of them, San Diego based companies, and made this freaking dude. This is fantastic beer.
It's incredible.
this, well, I mean, anything that Creative Creature has done, I don't think there's a single thing I don't like. This is nuts. It's almost up there in the strength of it, and like it's like it's already making me warm. Like what did I have?
You got the liquid sweater. That's what I call it.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Ballast Point Victory at Sea, the High West version of it that came out recently, dude. Like that's right here. Yeah.
He's drinking in a branded Creative Creature glass with a gold emblem pattern, with a nice wine lip on the top where it opens up for smelling. And it's delicious. Yeah, there's the audio description for you. ASMR. Hey, Jerry's doing great. Now that I turned on my mic. There you go. But Jerry, it is good having you back, man. It is so good to have you back because flowing between bits, just Steve and I back and forth, it's a lot like us drinking beers together where the conversation will just go to a point and then trail off and then we can drink our beers. But when we're doing that for other people, it's not as entertaining. So we were so glad to have you back. And I mostly blame myself for taking us places where nobody wants to respond to things. Steve, sorry.
and shout out to Cesar for joining us last week. He was an amazing guy.
And filling in our gaps.
Much more often. Because he was just incredible. So shout out to Cesar.
Yeah, thanks, Cesar, for covering.
Great lowdown.
You know, it's nice you guys replaced me with another very good.
We were like, oh, can't be another white dude. Already got two of those.
I was happy to see that. No, it's man. Love that guy, and to be honest, he is definitely the better looking out of the two of us. So, no, and he's super knowledgeable. I love that episode. I definitely did listen. So, yeah, man, let's get into it because people are probably like, all right, what's so I'm back. And and I missed out on the Xolos match. I was in Sedona at the time. So, guys, what happened in this Xolos match? Because I understand that not only did we have some of our academy players, which academy / first team players actually play, but the Xolos also had some academy players play. The Massacre apparently wasn't. What that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll kind of take this. I know, Drew, you weren't there either.
No, full disclosure, I was at a family kind of friends event and just kind of been doing general life stuff lately. I'm bummed. It mostly seemed like a party. Yeah,
it was. But I like your story of, when the season started, you guys looked at your calendar and go, oh, there's one weekend in July we don't have the game. Let's make plans. And then all of a sudden they fill the hole. And then
it's pretty much what happened to Jerry and I. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ricardo.
Yeah.
I
mean, it was a party. Yeah. It was kind of a celebration, right? I mean, a lot of people here in this city have grown up crossing the border, going to Estadio Caliente, going to watch the Xolos over the last 5-10 years. And this was kind of a celebration. It was kind of a party to be able to, hey, we have a team now. And, there's been a lot of like Football Sin Fronteras, and, there's been a lot of, this is a region. It's not two cities. It's a region. It's kind of two cities, but it's a region. This is really a chance to get two top tier teams to play each other. Even though this is a friendly for us, we got to be really careful. We're in the middle of a season. We're in the middle of a packed schedule, and they're leading right into their season. But regardless, it was a super cool event. We did the Bums parking lot. We marched in section 109. We made our noise. And then La Massacre came in. They came in about the 10th, 15th, maybe 18th minute, something like that. We met their chance with Dale San Diego, and I think we were pretty loud. We got some feedback from people who sat at center field, and they said that was a really good call to kind of change the chanting, change the song, and kind of match the noise they were bringing. And then they went over to section 111A. Ricardo, please move them. And regardless, I think that we did pretty well through the match. There's been some talk I've seen on social media and the Discord about, they were audible, you could hear them over us, but they've been together 15 years and we've been together 7 matches. I counted earlier today. That was our 7th home match this past Orange County. So, there's a lot of respect that we give, but I'm still really proud of what we've done. But regardless, back to the match itself.
Wait, real quick. Those people, if there's anybody here listening that said that about how they were more louder than us, they were more audible or whatever, I would ask a question of you. Were you helping? Were you a part of trying out the massacre? Because if you weren't, then shut your face. And next time, try to help out. But you're absolutely right. I joke. Okay, I'm just joking. No, nobody come for my throat. I'm just messing with you. We are much more nicer here in San Diego. Okay, we live in a place that everybody wants to come to, so we're much nicer here. We do did things differently. But I would say that exactly, Steve. Like these guys and gals have been going at it.
Oh no!
Did we just lose Jerry?
I think weird. So.
Odd. Well, we have never, as we just said, we missed having Jerry. Yeah. But I would say that I did hear kind of what Jerry did, and there is a certain sense of they have a bumba motoga, they have a different kind of like drum that we're trying to get one of as well. That is a very loud drum that's built specifically for supporters to make a good kind of sound, along with that kind of clanking cymbal sound that's really nice. So there is more of that we're actually trying to invest into as a supporters group, and Chavos has expressed that they'd like to as well. So it's going to be cool to see how that evolves from us to see some of what they've done and definitely take notes, right? You look at, how is that PVC on their flag put together? There's definitely notes we were looking at, I think, from certain people of like, how do we make that happen in our section in certain ways? And as you said, there's just an experience there to draw from, but it seemed like we held our own in our own stadium, and everybody had a great time, and there wasn't really a news event, at least that reached my ears, Steve, in terms of any negative emotions. It seemed just very positive. As Paul Topia, my friend here, likes to say, the Alta Baja dream. Him and I talk about that a lot. It is something that feels great to know that we both represent kind of different sides, but one California together, I think. So, Steve, we were cutting through the game here.
No, that's so well said. There were definitely no violent incidents. The only incident that I could really remark about would be they did get a smoke bomb in, and they let the smoke bomb off, which we have been told is a huge no-no. So I really haven't talked to the club about any ramifications or what that might mean in the grander scheme. Obviously, we're not really responsible for that, but at the grand scheme of things, that might be a quote unquote problem. Regardless, but they were respectful. There was no incidents of the P chant. We talked about that a lot last week. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, there was maybe one incident where we heard it inside our own section. And there was one, I'd never seen those people before. It was kind of a family. And what I did witness was every single person around them looked over and said, no, like pointed fingers, all that stuff. And that's exactly the reaction and the culture we're trying to build here, right? Like it maybe happened. But the fact that it was so vehemently directly spoken against says a lot about what we're growing here. But I don't want to focus on that too much. Regardless, the match, they scored one in the first half, got the goal, and then at halftime, full rotation, full 11 substitution. So kind of a tale of two games. It was really cool to see the academy guys get a good run out. We saw CJ early on in the season I think it was at Louisville. I could be wrong there, but it was cool to see all those guys get a really good run out, and I think they played really well, honestly. So shouts to those guys. And then about the Xolos academy players. I don't know too much about the Xolos team themselves. This kind of takes up all my time, but it was cool to see. It was cool to see them play in San Diego against our new hometown club. It's kind of a dream come true in a way. I think for me, but I think for a lot of fans who go to Tijuana more than I do and really celebrate and enjoy that club. Because I've only been a couple times, mostly Fridays, and I'm usually working, so it's really hard for me to get down there. But for people who go week in, week out, I think this was probably a really, really cool experience.
Hey, Steve, I apologize. I made him back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened, but my computer decided.
He got disappeared into a portal. Did you get sucked back to vacation, Jerry? Was it just like, oh man, it was too good of a time?
You think I would have come back if that would have happened? No, I'm sorry.
We'd love to note.
So what happened was I missed out on everything, Steve. I'm gonna need you to go right back and repeat everything that you just said.
I can try.
I'm just kidding.
It'd be really funny if Jerry, you cut the podcast there and then you went back and you replayed like what he said verbatim from when you left the podcast.
Cut the audio.
I'm gonna do that and just mess with everybody that only listens to us. And just now are they finding out as they're listening to us that that's what happened. They're like, wait, how did it go from him saying that he's just kidding to they played great. That's gonna confuse a lot of people. All right, no, sorry about that. I'm back now though.
But yeah, there's a few good points in the comments. Miguel, obviously we missed you, and we're going to be missing you. But shouts to you specifically. That's a really good point. Loud for a small group. Yeah, they certainly were, and I think we were louder, and that says a lot to what we are. And I kind of just mentioned that, but I'm very, very proud of the noise we brought and kind of how we stood up to Lama Sakura in a way, kind of side by side, stood up to them and said, "You're not going to be louder than us. I know your history, but we're the locals. We're Xolos. So we're gonna do what we do." And I think, like I said, it's only been 7 games, but we're getting better. We're getting definitely better. And every week, more people are singing, more people are getting there. More people are learning the songs, feeling more confident in the lyrics, and that gives confidence to sing the songs. So I'm stoked. I love how things are going.
You know, one thing I would say about that is like you don't want to be so repetitive forever. Obviously, I think I've gotten a few comments like, "Sure, oh, we're gonna do this again." And I think it's exactly for that reason that Steve just said, is we're getting better. We're learning these chants. And so we got to do them over and over and over and over. And the only chances that we're getting right now is at home. What better time to do it than live and do it now? And keep going and going and going until people around us start getting the lyrics and, and helping in and joining and making this better and better. So but eventually we're going to get to a point where we have so many songs that we won't be repeating everything 10 times or whatever it is. I'm probably exaggerating, maybe 6, 7 times, whatever. So yeah, I'm excited. I saw some of the videos of the game. Obviously, I was excited to see somebody like Siaha get recognition, which was fantastic. Did he play? He did not play the entire match, did he?
Oh, he was, like I said, the full. I think you were off the full 11 substitution at half, so it was a full rotation at halftime. So.
Starters first half, Academy second half. Yeah,
I think it was mostly starters first half. Jack Blake wasn't playing, nor Trey Muse. Those were the 2 starters that did not play the first half. But other than that, Austin Guerrero started the first half, and then Siaha started the second half. And damn, in the second half, they were Xolos were attacking towards us, so we kind of had a firsthand witness at Siaha making some really good saves, which it's just so rad, right? He's our 3rd string keeper. Realistically, he's not going to get minutes unless there's some injuries. If Muse gets injured or he gets recalled, then Guerrero's going to be our starter, and then Siaha could be backup. He could maybe get some minutes on a one-off night, but it was so good to see him get some minutes and really put in a good shift. He made, I think it's 5 saves is what the club tweeted out.
Wow.
And the save is a shot on goal, so that could have been a pretty nasty second half. But he really stood up to the challenge, and he was decided our man of the match.
It's hard too when you don't have a consistent back line. You just have people who are kind of thrown out there to play a match, right? Where you just don't know, and that's the hardest thing, especially against an academy. They play a certain way. They've been taught to play a way. They maybe, and especially on the Cholo side, they've got a specific formula that they all play in a session. Obviously, we do as well, and we've generated a style, but ours does leave you a little bit open on the back if you don't have solid defense and know exactly. And we've seen that in certain games, right? But it was pretty cool to hear coming out of that. Craig Elston, shout out to him. And one of the things I heard him say in one of his podcasts was Siaha, what part of what made him successful in this game is what made him successful in indoor, is that ability to kind of have that kind of close shot stopping ability and quick reaction time, but also to see where the ball was going to go and be kind of the only guy in front of the goal as opposed to having, defenders in front of you. That's something that you gain by being specifically in that style of game, which I thought was kind of a cool carryover in terms of this guy's career and what he's done throughout the region and throughout the sport, not just in the big pitch, but also on the small pitch too, which I thought was pretty neat about his story and different than a lot of our other players. And I'd love to see more of that, but it's obviously two different sports at times. But for keepers, you can see where those skills can scale up or scale differently. Similarly, Austin Guerrero would be somebody who'd be pretty incredible indoor. If you think about his shot stopping ability, and frame, it would actually work really well in indoor, right? So there's different players you could see translate in different directions, but I do think it's pretty cool that Anthony had that story, and then there's different CJ, I believe, did he open our section on this game yesterday?
Yeah, we'll get to that, but that was so rad to see. That was so rad.
Yeah, that's cool too. So it's cool to see that there is this culture kind of bleeding through all through, not just the players from different angles throughout the city and through the different parts of the sport. But those are the things that I took away as somebody who wasn't able to be there, but just the cultural things that seemed really kind of cool about the game overall.
And then when he was selected man of the match and he came up that hill, the stairs, and he was greeted by Nicole and Travis. They were kind of the two people who gave out that day, given the growler, and he did his, he did the thing. You could just kind of see the joy on his face. Like, if you haven't seen those pictures, if you haven't seen the videos, Loyal always brings it with the social media presence. So please go back and find that stuff, because you could just see it, man. You could just see it. He hasn't really been given an opportunity, like I said, and he brought it. And to be rewarded like that, you can kind of see that pride on his face. So shouts to him specifically, because he killed it. He deserved it. I hope they enjoyed that growler. Although that was our quote unquote first home defeat we've had. It was non-league, so it kind of doesn't, count towards the record.
It's not. It was an exhibition match where, as you said, you change up the size. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But the kind of the pictures, the content that the clubs put out about Siaha coming up the stairs, down the stairs, lifted the growler. It's pretty rad stuff. So shouts to him, for the performance. Shouts to the whole event. I hope they do it yearly. How cool would it be if we, next year we get to go down to Estadio Caliente and really kind of get awesome. To kind of, bring what we have to offer down there as well. Obviously, depends on restrictions, depends on where things are in the world by then. But that would be a pretty cool thing to do, like a home and away every other year around this time, because otherwise the timing doesn't really work out. But this could be a pretty cool thing to do. Yeah,
it depends, because their season's different, right? It starts in a different time. There's different breaks. Weeks, Exactly. And so it is tough to try and align that with where Loyal season runs and how the American soccer leagues tend to run in terms of the March to September or October schedule. So we'll see how that brings fruit in the future. But I'm excited to see where this goes. And again, the dream is always a CONCACAF Champions League matchup, right? Like, that's the dream, right? Between these sides. That would be the biggest thing ever for this region, and I don't know that any other region in the world's ever had that kind of international game that meant something that was two different sides of a border like this internationally. So all of that is just, again, firsts that are really cool that I'm sad I missed out on in terms of a party. So it's a pin that other people get to wear, in their metaphorical hat, and maybe you made a pin for it. That would be cool too if you want to be a crafter, be a maker. We always encourage that, and don't wait to be asked. Just do it. Just make it and put it out there, and we will promote the heck out of you if you do something cool like that. So one of the other things Two Balls just brought up is that we also beat OC's Academy 2-0 yesterday. A good little just kind of news blurb in case anybody didn't hear about it. I think that's kind of a nice thing to also see that youth development played really well against Xolos and had some great runs out, but it didn't really develop into anything. Then to see that kind of actually bring goals in a real match is pretty cool against their competitive peers. So good to see. 3-0, someone said. Nick Duffy. We got to get clarification on this. Maybe by the end of the episode. That's why you got to turn it.
This is a perfect transition for us. I think we've talked the Xolos match, incredible event, incredible spectacle. But the perfect transition is Loyal Select. That match was ahead of the actual Loyal match. And then we can talk about CJ. CJ actually showed up in our section after putting in a shift down at the Chula Vista Training Center against Orange County's select team or academy team. I'm sorry. So that was pretty awesome. I was kind of capoing the first half, and then all of a sudden I look over Jerry, and I was talking to him about the songs, whatever. And Jerry's like, "Hey, look over there," and I kind of look, and I'm like, "Dude, that's CJ. That's really cool. Like that. I love to see that kind of stuff." And we've seen other players who are not on the 18 of the day kind of join us in the section, and I just that's the kind of shit I love to see. I love to see that. That like fuels my soul, because it means we're doing something that they want to be a part of. They don't want to go sit in some box like they probably could, right? They want to join us there, and that tells me that what we're building and what we're doing there is better than some luxurious option. It means we're building a culture that they want to be a part of. So shouts to ourselves, I guess, but that's pretty cool.
Shouts to us. I don't know what's happening with my computer, and I apologize to everybody listening if you have bad audio. It's probably my fault. And this is what happens when we leave. You know, it's just
your computer's actually still on vacation, Jerry. So
it's very much on vacation. I think the internet is on vacation. I don't know what's going on. I apologize if you guys have some issues later on the audio version of this. I'm checking everything. It looks like I'm fine. I mean, y'all can hear me, right? It's good.
Can you hear me good,
yeah. For a while, I couldn't hear it. All of a sudden, the audio went back to my computer, and I couldn't hear anything through my headphones, and it was a big old problem. And I'm just apologizing now, because I don't know what's gonna happen on the actual final audio version of this. So, but I missed out on a whole bunch. So we went through. Where are we at now? So we're at OC.
We just transitioned to OC, so we're just started the OC match.
We're just sliding into this OC match. Where'd you slide into this, Jerry? You were wearing that sweet track jacket that looked like a official team merch, but isn't. So,
dude, I got so many compliments and people asking me where I got that. I didn't realize that was gonna happen. It's probably one of my favorite jackets, but I got it at Adidas. I don't think they have it anymore. I am sorry. Then pretty much like perfect San Diego Loyal colors, dude. It's like orange, white, and I'm not gonna call it Tory Green, but it's very darn close. I think what was the name for it? I don't know.
Wave green, I don't know. But yeah, you set the tone for the night. I just was like, Jerry's here for business. We're here to do business tonight. Wild Teal, I like that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's Wild Teal is us on tour. We're Wild Teal.
Before we completely dive into the match, I will say that earlier Wednesday, I text Jerry and I'm like, "You're coming tonight, right? Like, you're good." He's like, "Hey, I'm good, but I'm not gonna drum tonight. I'm gonna take it easy, whatever." And then like I turn around and Jerry's on the bass drum or on the snare drum. I'm like,
"Yeah,
all right, here we go." He's like, "I couldn't help myself. I'm good."
I saw Nick on the snare, and he kept looking up at me. I saw him look at me a couple of times. We made eye contact. And almost, I feel like his eyes were screaming, "Help me!"
Yes.
And so
I was asking. So for the march, I was asking everybody who can drum. Anybody want to drum? And nobody was doing it. So I drum. I don't know how good of a job I did, but I sure did. I did something. So then when we showed up at the section, and I promptly called Alan over. Shouts to Alan at the Fairweather podcast to come over and please take over because I would like this to sound good, and I don't want to be in charge of that.
Yeah, you handed me for a little bit, like I was playing the snare, and then you handed me the bass drums, and I finally saw him. He's like, "Oh, you're good, right? You got it?" I was like, "No. Get your ass down here.
Get your beautiful beard over here." Yeah,
dude, I'm not even kidding, and I think I tweeted this out at one point. Like, I am very impressed by the way Alan plays. Obviously he's a musician, but he plays that bass drum like I've never heard anybody play a bass drum, and it's freaking amazing. And so I was like right next to him playing snare, and there was a few times I think he saw me maybe at least once, like make eye contact with him, look at him, and go, "Holy shit, dude! Like you're." That was so good because he's like doing some filler stuff where it's like out of nowhere you just hear dun, 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 dun. I'm like, what the hell? That's not how a bass drum is supposed to.
It's like weird when there's nothing in space, right? Because he's so good at filling space with the bass, which like you're not used to in a supporter section. You're used to the snares being there a little bit like, but to have that constant bass fill is just so nice, and so it is pretty incredible what he does, and just. these are the little things that you'll appreciate as time goes by in the supporter sections, that certain people are going above and beyond. Even though we look at Lama Sakura and we go, we want to be there, right? Like, we're building something really special here, and we've got some incredible people that are setting a standard that, you know, even if it's not them in 3 or 4 years, that's the standard we've set, and want to get other people to fill that in. And so you maybe start learning to drum, and you can get there in 3 to 4 months of getting here too. It's something that's attainable. It's not a and Alan's going to be fantastic, and so is Jerry, because they've been doing it for years, right? But it's something where you can get there, as Steve's saying, and we can get you on the drum line and get you learning and figuring out how to do it too.
But,
so
before
it's there for everybody. Yeah.
Before we move on to the match itself, which I know we're getting to, a few more shout outs. Andrew always brings it every week with his snare drum. He's awesome. His snare drum is super loud. He's really good at what he does. Big contributor to the march and the drum line. So shouts to Andrew. And then also,
he looks so cool wearing his sunglasses, just playing it like, what's up?
I think did he do it himself? The color coordination, the black and like that bright green, it looks so good. Yeah, on the harness and the drum and the stickers, it looks so good.
He taped that thing, dude. If you look at it, really close, he spent his time on it. So that was him.
Massive shouts to him. He joined us at Coronado before the match to get a couple beers. Super cool guy. Really fortunate to have him on board. And then also shouts to Nick, Mr. Duffy, for taking over lead capo for second half. I did the first half. We missed Mr. Kevin Herrera at the president of Los Chavos. We missed him this week. He was unable to attend. So I did the first half, and then I asked Nick if he wanted to do the second half, and he said yes, emphatically, and he did a kick-ass job. Most of the second half, I found myself at the upper half of the section, like we've been talking about on this podcast, and internally waving one of the big flags, really kind of trying to bring a voice to the upper half of the section to bring those people more involved and feel like they can sing. And I think it worked. But huge shout out to Nick. He did just an incredible job. And Nick, you know what doing good work means. It means you do more work in the future. So gear up for doing this again because you did a really good job. And we need to get more people involved so that it's not the same people involved every week for doing this kind of stuff. The more we rotate, the more we're going to feel refreshed and energetic about it instead of feeling like a chore. And then that's going to bring more energy to that kind of lead capo. So you did a badass job and gear up because you're going to be on the clock a little more.
I absolutely want to bow that and say that I 100% agree. Nick thought that he was just going to fill in for a little bit. Next minute, he's the lead capo for the entire game and for future games. No, but he did fantastic. He did great. And you know who else I was very excited to see how pumped up he was and like trying to get people going too was the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Craig Elston was really getting into it.
Next level. Oh yeah, he had the right clothes. He was like ready to move. Like I loved it. I was like, I need to bring shorts next week. You know what's going on, Craig? Like this is the deal.
Yeah, he looked like he was about to climb Mount Everest. Like that's what he looked like.
He was on fire.
Properly lubricated as well. I could tell. So, dude, the guy. Everybody that was there was bringing it down in the front. Obviously the Alegre brothers, Andrew. And I'm gonna kick myself in the face for this one. I'll get his name, I promise. But like everybody that's in that section was just absolutely destroying it.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, good shot there. Chappie brings it every.
Oh, dude, Chappie too. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, Chappie is like mad energy. Yeah, he's usually in the lower. If you're staring at the field left part, but yeah, he's always bringing the energy there. So I regret. You get stuck into patterns, right? Where you're like, I'm here this game. I did, Steve, go up to the top, and it is fun. And anybody, if you want to earn extra credit as a supporter, go hang out in the top and just start singing. And my favorite thing to do is walk down the stairs singing really loudly sometimes, because it's all these people standing in the aisle like, I stood in the aisle so I could bail if I wanted to. And they're just very uncomfortable by it, but you get them singing right away. You get them kind of clicking like, okay, I'll sing. And so it is fun to do that for sure, and something that, if you ever want to start finding your way more as a capo and getting into what we're talking about and helping out, that's a great way to kind of get started, is just move up a little bit. And if you're on a solo mission, if you're there by yourself, it's a great way to just make new friends and maybe get new people who are kind of coming into the supporters group as well. So it's been great to see everybody clicking in and finding their different spots, but at the same time, it's always fun to move around the section and find different stuff of what's going on.
Yeah.
And while we're doing shout outs before we move on, Eric, Mr. Wilkie, he was carrying his little girl up and down those stairs all night.
Surfboard winner, Eric Wilkie.
At people. It was, badass. Just like total shout out to him too. Go ahead.
Dude, I was hoping that he was going to bring his surfboard and
just bring the board in.
Yeah. It was like crowd surf, but like 109 surf. That would have been
real surfing.
We got to do that by the end of the year. If he brings it, we'll do it.
So good.
Yeah, that would have been rad. My bad. It's absolutely Austin. It's Austin Alexander. I remember that now. Andrew, thank you for that. But the Allegra brothers, Austin and Andrew.
Bring it every week with that San Diego.
Austin and I were chatting about this because actually I probably shouldn't talk about where he works. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but he was like, "Oh, where I work. If you ever want your kids to go," he works at a place where kids love to go. And so I was like, "Yes, dude. Yes, we're talking after this." But he always brings it. And when we were getting ready to do the San Diego We Are, which we'll talk a little bit about this too, because there's been some conversation on our Discord on this chant. But when we were doing the San Diego We Are, I loved how he prepared himself, because he's like, and then he's like, rubbing his throat and like hands up as everybody's going hands up. And the way he prepared himself, I was like, yes, this guy gets it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, the passion. It was just, man, I was so pumped up. It was such a great atmosphere. And I think it's time to get into the match. What do you guys think?
I agree. Let's go.
Okay.
Well, the first half was nothing. So let's go to the second. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, the only
starting 11, go ahead, Steve.
The only thing on the first half, starting 11 was, I guess I'll back up there. Starting 11 was pretty expected. Good to have Stoneman back, which we'll talk about him a lot. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Jerry, you missed last week when we talked about Miguel Berry getting recalled, so he's not really on the squad anymore, obviously. So Herzog, I kind of expect is the going forward here. I wonder if we have any more to come. Kind of my take last week to summarize was we now have 3 players leaving in quick succession. It kind of feels like we might have some more coming, just because I don't really see the depletion without kind of a backfill there. This is kind of a speculation, but that's my hope. But regardless, starting 11, I kind of feel like was pretty expected at this point. Maybe the only surprise was Elijah not starting, and he was the first sub. So maybe that was just a rest coming off the bench. But the only thing really to note of the first half, I think it was pretty Loyal dominated. I think we had a couple shots on target. I think Muse made 1 save.
Felt like we should have had a goal, though. I think that was the general consensus, but we didn't. I think that's kind of what I felt like. Yeah,
we were peppering for sure. The thing that I would note was the soft yellow on Stoneman. I think I
made no sense.
Back. I remember during the game, like I said, I was kind of lead capo that first half, so, and by doing that, you sacrifice watching a little bit. But I kind of remember watching that instance, and I was like, that doesn't really seem like a yellow to me. So I went back and watched it, and it just kind of seemed a little soft to me. And then obviously there's ramifications later when I think we'll get into the second half, but he made a stupid foul and got the red. But that's kind of the first half. I mean, it ended 0-0. Not really too much else. You guys got anything really else to remember or mention about the first half?
I feel like there was a few opportunities that we missed that were like clear. God, that ball should have gone in. So there was some action for sure. I wouldn't, say that the whole first half was just a throwaway. I think there was some opportunities that, obviously
the one that Charlie blocked, on the line specifically.
Dude, yes.
That was the silliest. So I saw Sean at halftime. I was talking to Marissa from Fairweather. Shout out, Marissa. But we were just talking about life and stuff. And then Sean walks by. I'm like, hey, Sean. He's got his earpiece in. And we're like, oh, he's working he's protecting the queen or whatever, as a joke. He's like, you want to hear a great stat? And we were like, yeah. He's like, Charlie Adams had the first touch inside the box of 2021 when he blocked that shot on the line from Miguel at bottom. And we were like, that's an awful stat, but an incredible stat. because that's what happened, which was, to me, that's where a goal should have for sure happened. It felt like, if anything, there was a couple windups that happened, but that was one where you're like, it's open, and then you see your own player who's already going, he was falling down, he didn't have a chance, he's already there. And unfortunately, that happens sometimes. But that was the one that I distinctly remember being like, we probably should have, the XG would have been there without the block, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree on that. So just to jump into a couple of stats here, 54.1% possession for San Diego Loyal to Orange County's 45. So it was 45.9. So, somewhat even. It went to Loyal on this one. The offsides, we had 2, they had none, which is always a good thing because that means we are getting some guys up front and we're putting some distribution out there and trying to get some balls over.
I like that a lot. I like that stat as like an underlying, how much are we trying to attack kind of a thing.
Yeah, because remember, it was always like 0. We're like, no offsides. What's going on here? We need some offsides or something's going on.
Yeah.
Passing accuracy, we're pretty even there. 83.7 for San Diego Loyal, 82.9 for OC. Crosses over, this is great, 17 and 14. That's good. On the attack, we had 15 shots. They had 16. I mean, I don't know. You guys can take it however you want, but shots on target, we had more than they did. 5, and they had 4. Same equal block shots, 5 and 5. I would say, that Muse was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, he had a really good save.
At the beginning of the second half.
Yeah,
dude, like both of the goalkeepers were great on the night.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch Romero, and I hate to say it, I think I may or may not have flipped him off at one point because I was like,
I was shouting things.
Why do you stop that? And then also that ball that third goal almost went in from Ben Spencer.
That was an impressive shot. Just to get the shot off and get it on target, almost. It was just off target, but like just to get it off and have a chance. That was really impressive, and it was like you're seeing him. I feel like we keep getting closer on the ladder to where if he can burst and start scoring some goals here, he'll be a really great alternative and maybe steal a starting spot here if he can produce goals. Right, that's what we're looking for at this point. So that was something promising to see, even though we won the game. It's something to build on for sure from Ben. But in terms of, I think overall the performances, it was just the glancing headers on the night that seemed to be the impressive thing, that our crosses and our work down the flanks finally is paying off in dividends here in terms of set pieces as well as just personal placement on runs. Seems to be picked really well, I think, which has been much better than it was in the first few weeks. It's been much more dialed in and getting better and better, which you love to see. You like to see your team improve throughout a season, but that's something that I think was also so good about this game was after going into the situation that we did here. So we're moving along here, Jerry, as we go through, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so you end up with 10 men, right? With this, in terms of where Stoneman gets to. And the problem is Stoneman, we know, is good for one hard yellow a game. And the first half was bullshit, but he got his hard yellow in the second half. And unfortunately, when you have 1 yellow and 2 yellows, you're out of the temple of life, and your pendants can't save you. From the Legends of the Hidden Temple analogy. But he got caught by the temple guards.
Here you go. That's a good one.
And Stoneman, this is the first time we've seen him card off. This is where we've seen it really backfire. We always joke about the yellow with him, but this backfired, right? This would have been a horrific thing if we lose this game. Haha, it's all funny until the bill comes due. But it was rough because you feel like he shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. It's hard. It was as a fan, you feel weird, but I also felt like right after that, the team responded immediately. There wasn't really like a hesitation of like, oh shit, this is going to be terrible. It was like, we're going to play.
Let me say a few words on the yellow though. So I agree. The first half yellow was light. I think it was pretty soft, but
yeah, I think that's a few words. Okay, so we're gonna move. No, I'm just kidding. Go, Steve.
I
really like interrupting Steve because usually it's true. Interrupt or you interrupt me. So I just have to throw it in there just to throw you off your game.
I'm on my toes.
Go ahead.
No, my point is, I'm worried about it. Right? I mean, if we're in the playoffs or down the stretch and we really need to rely on him, I'm worried about it. Like he got a stop yellow in the first half, but then the second yellow was absolutely deserved. That was absolutely a yellow card. And it was kind of unnecessary. You know, the guy didn't have the ball. He was running behind him, but I mean, the guy was ahead of him, but I just didn't feel like it was a really needed yellow, and he kind of kicked his heels. And I don't know. I just don't really like to see that kind of stuff. You know you're on a yellow card. You know there's 30 minutes left. You know we need a point here, at least a point here, and you just kind of like lose focus or lose concentration. And I don't know. Those kind of things bother me. It's just kind of a mental game, and you can't lose that. It's almost like if he's not willing or able to put 90 in, but last year he played every minute for us. So I don't know. It's hard to put words in what I'm trying to say, but it's kind of unnerving how it kind of played out.
Yeah, I would agree
more
with
heads
that.
up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I would agree with that. I would say that second one, I went back and saw it, and I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, you didn't have to do that. That was unnecessary. And here's the thing is that I guess, one of my personal things that I like to do is always look at the positive, right? And so I'm going to give you guys a positive, okay, out of this whole thing.
All right.
I promise you, and I will 100% bet anybody a beer that in the next match, Stoney will not get a yellow or a red at all. So there's that. All right. So
he'll be suspended for a match, Jerry, I believe. But then after that match,
exactly why? I clearly know this.
Damn it, Jerry! You and your winning bets.
That wasn't a bet. I was just promising you that Stoney is not going to get a yellow the next match because, in fact, he is not playing. All right,
yeah,
so we have that. So we have that going for us.
Too good.
But to be fair, Yarrow and Montgomery both had great games, right? I think just even from a defensive angle, I felt like when they were on our half, the entire time I was like, great job, Callum, great job, Josh, and it was great to see that production there. Again, they've been pretty consistent whenever they're in the game. They've been paired together at some points, but I don't have any less confidence with them at this point as we've tried to find a center back pairing. I like the three of them. I like them with Stoneman. Seemed really effective when it was effective. It's just one of those things where you want to see, people remain on the field. That's their key availability, right, is to remain on the field. So as that goes, as you said, I hope that he comes back and maybe this nips in the bud that entire streak, and maybe we can go a few games without that happening too from Grant. But to be fair, the other defensive people from Elijah as well just put in an incredible shift once Grant went off from the defensive side to kind of give some shout outs there as well.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's go with goals. Yeah.
The fun part. Before we get to goals, the next thing on the timeline, as is usually customary with a red card, you get a pretty quick sub. And this is our first sub, which was, Charlie came off for Elijah on, which meant Callum, who was playing left back, all of a sudden slots into center back, and Elijah goes out to left wing or left back. And that seemed to be okay, except for the fact that they scored literally 1 minute later, which could say a lot about kind of how it went down. The goal, if you kind of go back and watch it, I'm not going to go super detail, but it was Callum passing the ball in the midfield. I think it was to Colin, and Colin kind of got dispossessed. To be honest, and to be fair to Colin, I think Callum's pass was just kind of misplaced. I mean, I think he had a guy right on his back, and he didn't really have a place to turn. His body position wasn't right, so maybe that pass shouldn't have been, delivered. But in fairness, it takes two people to make a mistake in this situation. So,
but it's always the thing with center back passes, right? There's always a chance there with the leading center back pass that can happen, right? Yeah.
Regardless, it was a 65th minute sub and a 66th minute goal. That's the way you're going to have to say it. It just kind of is what it is, and maybe Callan was kind of just not quite ready for the position he was like thrown into with the red card. But you know what? We go down 1-0. And at that point, down a man, down 1-0, especially kind of in the supporter section, we kind of go, here we go. We go louder, we go harder, we support for 90 regardless. But there was definitely a little bit of a, oh, here we go, man. This is going to be rough, to lose at home, potentially lose at home. Maybe we get one back and draw the match. But in reality, it did not play out.
No.
No, I think that's where the click can happen. That's where I was saying that you saw the response, right? The second that the club realized we're not sorted out the way we need to be, whatever the communication problem is, Steve, that you were saying happened there, I think they weren't ready, got fixed within like 30 seconds, and it felt like, okay, even if we're not going to fix this, we're going to press forward, we're going to play our game with 10 the way we can, and for the rest of the game, it felt like they really did that. They really pushed the ball the way they wanted to. It felt like, Toomey said, I think it was Toomey, that it was 11 versus 11 is what it felt like. And watching it, that's almost what it played out as, except for the final maybe 15, 20 minutes got a little more defensive. But it was, we've seen that with this team even when they have a lead with 11 players on the field. So it was really impressive to see that rally cry to come back and just say, we're just going to press forward and try and do this. And so they, win a chance here, it seems like, to get in terms of what's happening. And part of that happened to be with creating more depth, I think, with our starting players that were out there. So Toomey is the next sub, right, that came in for Miguel, who had a decent game. He did give away a couple balls in certain places that were still frustrating. But again, when you're in a position where he is, where you're making decisive passes, that's going to happen a lot because you're making decisive passes. But Toomey came in and looked instantly like he changed the game. He stretched the field a bit. He was pulling players to him a bit, and ended up creating a situation where we had a chance for a goal here, kind of pretty quickly, within a few minutes of pushing forward. Yeah, I mean, he came on. It was pretty quick that we felt like we were right there, right? But even right before he came on, it felt like we were pushing. We just needed an extra push, and he was almost the guy who got us over the hill, right? Like they were pushing it up the hill with 10 guys. You bring out one of the tired guys, bring in Toomey's energy, and he helped push it up over the hill. And we're looking at just an opportunity to get a mismatch. You get Callum out there, matched up in an advanced running position here on a kick that seemed to be a pretty incredible whip in that was.
Before we get too much, Jerry, you were saying something before we get to the first goal of the comeback. What were you going to chime in with?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, all right. Well, you want to transition us into this next period? I think Drew and I have been talking.
No, not really. I'm enjoying my 14.5% beer.
I was gonna say his beer tastes great. That's what's happening.
I have a feeling this beer's gonna give me a damn headache tomorrow, but gosh, it's so good. All right. No, I would. Sorry, go ahead.
No, how'd you see the whip in? How'd you experience the goal?
Which one are we talking? We're talking about the
goal. The Callum.
Oh, the Callum goal. Oh, sorry, the Callum goal. Oh, we're still there. Okay, because I just saw. So it was just very interesting for me that Toomey comes in for a bar on the 73rd, and immediately after, there's a goal. And I think that I went back and I was thinking in my head, like, it took us a little while, but we're now at the point where our subs are making a big difference.
Yeah.
Whenever we make a sub, it's a smart sub now, whereas before, didn't feel quite that way. And I want to take actually a minute before we talk a little bit more about this game, and we will continue to talk about it. Let's take a moment, everybody, to really enjoy the fact that we were in the beginning 4-0 or 0-4. We were not a good team trying to figure ourselves out. And what could we tell ourselves? We just kept telling ourselves, like, we have to be in this. We're going to get to the point where we can understand ourselves. We're working on this. This is a work in progress. There's new people here. On paper, we looked fantastic. Now we're starting to see that product that we expected when we read it on paper. We're starting to see that. And a large part of that has to do with the coaching, honestly, getting better. And I don't know if it's necessarily that they've changed anything, because they claim that they haven't changed anything. But I think it's them, if it is not changing anything, then them having an actual plan for what they want to put out on the field. And I don't think anybody left this match thinking, man, that wasn't the greatest match I've ever seen. That wasn't that fun. Like that was a fun freaking product that was out there. And that's what that's what the way that they were putting it. So, I mean, to me, the moment that Toomey comes in for Ibarra, there's a change, and all of a sudden Montgomery like does what he needs to do. Dude, the way that I saw it was just I was every single time that we got close to the goal, I would start praying, please somebody get this ball. Because we had a few instances was when the ball was actually thrown into the box. There was a few players there, right? And we were pushing. And just that in itself, the fact that we were pushing forward rather than just immediately parking the bus and defending the moment that we went down to 10 men, to me, that was huge. To me, seeing them push forward like that, I was already in my mind like, this is amazing, and this is so different from what we've been doing. Now, on top of that, I was praying that somebody was going to be able to get on this ball. Their defenders are fantastic, and they were in the right place at the right time. Their goalkeeper was great, but I was just hoping, praying, one of our players is going to get their head in there, or is going to get that's enough space to put the ball in, and to me that Caleb goal was coming already like 3 plays before. Like it was coming, and it felt like it's just a matter of time. There's going to be a goal. We're going to tie it up. But I thought the moment we tie it up, we're going to park the bus, and that's going to be it. And we're at least going to take a point, and this is going to feel like a win regardless. That's where I was at.
Yeah.
It's
been incredible to watch what the choices that they make are, and then see where the impacts are, because it felt like we were throwing guys out there for sure at the beginning of the season. Steve, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree. I think once we got that goal, which I just said maybe 10 minutes ago, was once we go down one goal, we're down to 10 men. The fear is, well, here we go. And then, like Jerry said, we're still attacking. We're still pushing forward. We finally get that goal off that set piece with Jack Blake, incredible service, and Callum just nudging that right off the post, which is just an amazing goal. I was worried, I mean, at that point, I wasn't. Sorry, worried isn't the right word. I was hesitant to think we could push and get that second goal, but it happened 2 minutes later. Like it happened just like on. Not 120 seconds later, we're pushing forward again. Jack Blake finds himself on the left wing with the ball in space, crosses the ball, gets deflected, and Toomey just wills his head onto the ball. And again, off that same post, finds the back of the net, and we go wild. It kind of shows to the heart of this team, right? It's easy to bunker down, and even if the coaches are telling you to push forward, you don't always want to. You don't always want to. Run that extra yard or sprint that extra 10 yards to get that ball or put that ball in. And then Toomey he literally just like threw his body at the ball and got that in. I've seen a couple comments here saying, 109, push him across the line. Can't tell me any different. Lucas, you're incredible. We are going to miss you so much. But yeah, I really do feel like that. I feel like that might've been our lightest 109 crowd we've ever had. But
yeah,
I
in
feel
terms
like
of pure numbers,
it was one of the loudest. Like I feel like we really brought it last night. And Jerry, you tweeted something out that really resonated with me. We go down and we got louder. And I kind of alluded to that earlier on. Like you go down and you kind of feel your discouragement, and then you go, wait, hold on, like they need us right now. And then you get louder.
There was a moment
smarter. And again, shouts to Nick, shouts to all the drummers, Adrian, shouts to all the Xolos guys that were there, because you go down and you turn it up and you go, they need us now more than ever. And I really feel like they felt that energy, because I feel like we really, really turned it up. And it's one thing for like 5 people to turn it up, but it's another thing for everybody to turn it up. And I feel like everybody really feels what we're doing here and gets that memo and is like, oh yeah, now let's go. Like we're down. Now they need us. Now is when we turn it up.
I don't think that we necessarily could tell on the audio from the game itself.
Yeah.
But I have to say I am 100% like proud of the 109 section because the moment that they scored a goal, well,
Was
first of
the
all,
moment.
we kept going. We kept going with the chant that we were doing. The
No
rest
break.
of the stadium,
Sound was
and I'm
pretty much the same too.
no
Yeah.
same, no break. But what I personally did because I was like, damn it, that was coming.
Yeah, fuck.
I looked out and I saw on both ends of us. So we're 109, and then the other side of the stadium. I saw a lot of people just kind of drop their. You know how they had the
Sound sticks. Yeah, whatever they're called.
and I saw them all go down, and everybody started kind of like, and they're celebrating, and we're still playing. And I was like, you know what? We need to get louder. And immediately, I was thinking it, and it just happened. Like everybody in our section just went, for like a split second, and then immediately kept going, but got louder. And after that, it got louder and louder and louder. And I could tell that I think specifically the one person that I saw was Corey Herzog. He was like pumping everybody up, and I saw him point at us, like saying they're still going loud. Like I saw him point at us, and I'm thinking, I hope that he realizes how much louder we just got right now. Because it might have, like at the end of the day, it might have not felt that much to the stadium because we're in a wide area, but we got louder, and it did not get any softer after that. Like we just were hitting it. And it's funny because their goalkeeper came back and was celebrating. He came back to the goal, and he looked at us like, "Damn!" Like, what the hell is going on over here? Because we were like, "Oh yeah, all right." So now's our time to come into the field. Basically, is what it felt like, and it was a big difference. So I think everybody that was in 109, thank you, because it definitely, like you said, we might have been on numbers, maybe a little bit less, but god damn, we were loud, dude. That was loud. So
yeah, even up front, it felt lighter than normal, but louder than normal, which was really, I'd look around and I'd be like, there's definitely less people around me, but you wouldn't notice the difference because the voices lifted and the pre-gaming or whatever everybody did, wear the same socks, do what you got to do. But it was an incredible match. Anybody who's there should feel damn proud of being a great supporter.
But then we get one in, and then the momentum shifts, right? Then the momentum was kind of already shifting.
We have to get
We're pushing forward, down one goal, down a man. We get that goal with Callum, and then the momentum shifts, and that second goal felt inevitable, and it happened so fast. Like we just talked about it, but Toomey got his head on the ball. Feels super good for him. This is his second header goal of the season. He scored at Orange County, actually. With his head there as well. I would never have said in a million years that his 2 goals in the season would be both from headers, but
glancing headers.
It is what it is. So it is what it is. I hope that this gives him some confidence going forward, and that he gets some more minutes. It's really rad. But then kind of wrapping this on a bow, down a man, 15 minutes left. We held on to it. It's something that I've criticized. I kind of shouted out the club last week. I think it was 8 goals in the last 5 minutes of every match this season, and they held on. They held on to secure the 3 points.
Elijah held on
all night.
Yeah, we held on.
Shouts to Elijah, and then
because he was it was like a defensive ninja in those last 20 minutes, just like
seriously,
like getting balls out of the box.
I think that, and then I think a lot of the reason that we had a lot of votes for Callum, there were a couple people who changed their votes to Callum, and that factored into kind of my counting. I put those in quotes for those audio listeners because my counting is very rough for deciding man of the match. My point is, I think that he really stepped up those last 15 minutes. He had a big block. I know Elijah had a big block. There was some really good defending that was going on those last 15 minutes to really hold on to the dub. So,
yeah, no, it was fantastic. I think at the end of it, we were able to do something that we haven't been able to do, which is finish a game, and that's really, really important. And also just the team effort, and you can see that these guys, even the people on the bench. I mean, the moment that Toomey scored, what did he do? He went to go celebrate with people that weren't playing. the nearest teammates that he could find that
Yeah.
were in street clothes. He went and hugged them. He went and hugged Siaha. He
Love
went and
it.
hugged Chavez. He went and hugged all the guys that were down below us, not in uniform. He went to go celebrate with his teammates. So that tells you the kind of family that's being built in the locker room. It's something that's just a sight to see. And for me, the moment I saw that, well, like first, obviously, he celebrated with us and immediately ran over there, then came back. And the way that the players are celebrating with us, it just feels, again, it goes back to they went down. We didn't give a shit. We kept pushing and we pushed harder, saying, hey, it's okay. Let's keep this going. Like that was a message they got. They said, listen, like they're still doing their thing over there. We should be doing our thing over here and forget that we're down 1-0. That is a big step, and that's how teams win championships, when they're able to do something like they did that day. Like it blows my mind, and I'm sad for the people that couldn't make it, because I know that obviously I almost didn't make it, and I was walking out, my wife and my two boys, and we're walking out of the stadium, and I looked at her, I was like, I'm so glad we came. And she's like, yeah, that would have been shitty if you missed this match. And I was like, this is one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I fully admit I'm usually up at the front of the section for most matches, but today, like I said, I made a point of it to go up for the second half, and I was hugging people that I had never met, but they know me now because I gave them a big old hug.
That's the point.
When we scored, which is great. I mean, I loved it. It was like such a new experience for me, but it was so rad. I was next to your family there for a good 20-30 minutes. Your dad is gnarly. He waves that flag like nobody's business. But yeah, it was rad to really like understand. It's easy to kind of get caught up in the front where you know everybody, but to kind of get up there and then, shouts to Ken and Tom. There's a couple Padres Twitter guys, Padres season ticket holders. They've kind of gotten hooked, and I want to shout out to John Gennaro for the article he wrote today. He did
that was my ad to the piece. Yeah, I was
really
blasted by that. Yeah, it was so good.
That last paragraph really gave the tingles up my spine. It really tickled my fancy. Really said it well. So shouts to him. Which Padres game with him last week, and then I
heard you guys you and Travis bullied him into coming. Yeah. Good job.
Well, Travis literally sent him a ticket and said, "You free next Wednesday?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, well, you're coming." So that's.
It was so funny to hear him. So he's got his podcast and his stuff, and he was talking about he had a Patreon podcast with Jordan Carruth where he's like, "Tell me about this team. I don't want to sound like an idiot. I want to go and not be an idiot." And it was just very fun to hear his perspective from the forward end, and then see him pregame and kind of experience it with him a little bit. But what he wrote afterwards was so beautiful. He's got a great voice. As a podcaster, and he's also a great writer, and it's really fun to see him write stuff just for passion and what he loves. So from a fresh perspective, if you want to see from somebody who's just experiences this for the first time, is not Steve or Jerry or I, that just is coming at this with their own sports perspective that's very broad. He listens and sees a lot of sports, so to feel this connected and feel like this is a different type of sporting experience for him, I think was pretty cool to see, because he's seen everything and he's done so many things. That for him to even get sucked in like that, I thought was pretty cool. And he got to experience some of the trappings. I know that he snuck over with Darren and Jordan where their secret beer emporium is over there. So to get lured back from that, I thought was pretty impressive. And so shout out to John for wanting to be a true supporter and rock it out with us over the Tory Club over there, which I know Darren and Jordan have also expressed wanting to do their stuff with us, but I don't think it would be coherent. I don't think any of it would make sense. But I'd challenge them to try with us at some point. But it's cool to see the love and see people just coming to it, and that's what it's going to take, right? This is why having home games consistently is great. Is you build that community game over game over game. What we're going to look like at the end of the season is totally different and better and bigger than we were even at the beginning of this season. So it's so fun to watch just what's growing. But thanks to John for that piece. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Bryce Brokoff for being the only one in all of our pictures that always look unhappy and he just expects more He's always just asking for more from San Diego Loyal. But yeah, if you want to check out his article, and the reason I said that is because the picture is in John's article. John M. Gennaro. It's John M. Gennaro, Gennaro. Right, and he does the Padres Hot Tub podcast with my boss and very good friend, Mr. Craig Elston. So make sure you check that out as well. Let me read this real quick.
Do it.
He said,
Please.
a goal, down a man, to tie the game, the most unlikeliest of things, and it happened. Off a set piece, when being down a man would seem to be impossible to get around. Maybe now they could lock down on defense and escape with a tie. And are you kidding me? To me scores. Okay, fine, I'm in. Let me onto the roller coaster. My heart was pounding along with my ears, and all I wanted to do was soak up the joy of this moment. I just about ran back to section 109 and spent the rest of the game singing as loudly as I could. Eventually, I yelled at the top of my lungs when the game ended in a 2-1 Loyal win. Then the players came over and sang with the locals. They thanked their supporters. My fandom was now a relationship, and I had a responsibility to be a better fan for the team because they had done everything they could to make my meager energy and effort and time put in worth it. If you haven't tried it yourself, I recommend it. Dude, like
Kills.
Can you get better Yelp review?
So good. Yeah.
5 stars, recommend San Diego on
But
Yelp.
no, and that's what we tweeted earlier from the locals account was I'm not sure you could put it into better terms about the difference between being a fan and being a supporter.
Yeah,
The supporter, you're active, right? It matters,
Exactly.
and they give it back. But yeah, just an incredible write up. I think we've sung its praises. So shouts again to John, who's also an awesome guy. So moving to man of the match. This is our first man of the match that was a defender this season, which I think was a really good shout. Obviously, the goal as a defender helped, kind of leveled that, but he had a good shift. And the thing I want to mention about the man of the match, it's always so fun. Lucas, I'm glad you had your moment. We are going to miss you.
Dude.
We're auditioning new shirtless men.
When I came up to Lucas and I was like, "Hey, dude, do you want to do man of the match?" And the Growler's like, "Yeah, really? Yeah, cool." And then at the end, I was like, kind of like got him, and he's like, "Do I need to put a shirt on?" I'm like, "No, you don't need to put your shirt on. That's the whole point." It was so cool. And then Nick was up there as well doing the shift as capo. But that was and then Adrian, of course. Adrian's always in the back drumming. We wanted to make sure he got his a chance.
He was the best part of all the pictures, dude. His face was like,
I know.
So
He's a mood.
Yeah.
And so while I'm done shouting people out, I will say the coolest part, and I've yet to see this. Callum got down the stairs, and I kind of looked back at him because usually Ryan is at the end with the camera kind of filming him, and that growler was open already, and he was drinking out of it. Three steps on the field, I was like, "You're the dude. This is the best. Like, this is what it matters." He's like, he was already celebrating. Like, you could tell that it mattered to him that he got that, and maybe he was thirsty, but I'm going to choose to just think, you know what, he wanted some beer.
So who do we think is going to be the first one to drink it on the platform? Corey.
Ooh.
Corey
already won.
He was already.
But do you think Corey? But no, if he wins again, do you think he'll drink it on the platform?
I think it'll be Sal.
He seems like the kind of, Sal. Yeah, Sal maybe.
Sal told us in his interview he didn't really drink that much, so maybe not.
That's true. I'm trying to think of who would do it, right? Who's a performative drinker that would do it? And that's the thing. It's like you have to want to do it for the camera, but also want to do it. So that's the next step. So Callum set the bar now at almost on the field to where the next step would be on the platform. I think that's what I'm looking forward to.
Dude, I actually think that the two people that would possibly drink it on the platform with us have already been on that platform. So maybe if we lead them that way and say, "Hey, would you want to drink with us?"
I'm trying to will it into existence.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I think it's Herzog, and I think it's Jack Blake. I honestly think those two guys are the most likely guys to do it. Yeah.
Maybe Charlie. Good shout, Nick.
Charlie.
Yeah, good shout, Nick. Yeah, that's a good one. Charlie for sure. Maybe Hackworth.
Hackworth.
Maybe so. He's
a bro. Maybe.
No, I don't know if he's like a big beer drinker though.
So let's get we're already an hour 20 in. Let's get to the final kind of wrap up locals topics, and then we'll wrap it up. And I think we'll chill for a while. I'm down if you guys are.
Jerry can tell us about. We'll do some chant chat.
Let's go.
In the post show.
Oh yeah,
chant chat.
Okay, so the first order of business is we have a weekend off, guys. This is like how nice, right? Next match is
we don't have anything off.
24th at Phoenix, or I'm sorry, at Phoenix, hosting Phoenix. But it is nice to have a weekend off to kind of refresh ourselves. I know Landon's post-match a speech, somebody mentioned this before, that was awesome, but he mentioned 4 days off for the guys, so I think they go back on Monday, which is really cool. Kind of some refresh the batteries for them, refresh
like
the batteries.
A bye week. Yeah,
it kind of it away. The other moment of business, we did say in our newsletter last week to save the date for August 1st for a bus trip. We have been informed that LA Galaxy is having no fans right now.
What?
So while we had the best intentions to organize a bus trip August 1st, we have been told that there are no fans at all at LA Galaxy 2.
And that Jerry wants you to repeat that there's no fans at LA Galaxy. Is that what you said? There's no fans.
Well, I mean, because there wouldn't be any fans other than us. It's not fair.
This plays right into all the memes, unfortunately, for for certain people. But yeah, as Steve said, it's sad. But they were like, "No, we don't want you." We're like, "What about us?" We'll like pre-approve. Like what? They're like, "Nah." We're like, "Okay."
So apparently,
that would have been sick. We could have made the Galaxy match a home match, but
I know.
No,
that would have been cool. They apparently don't want the money. Like 55 times $15, but apparently not. So up to them.
Oh well.
But there are lots of other good opportunities coming to organize some away trips for the end of the season. Some that maybe aren't busable, but we've been talking a lot about doing maybe not organized, like get yourself there. August 28th at Sacramento, September 11th at Oakland, and then kind of the last maybe potential big one would be September 25th at Las Vegas. And then there's a couple other there's probably only one bus trip remaining, which would be at Orange County. And that's either the 2nd or the 20th of October. I know that the last two games at Orange County and at Orange County and at LA Galaxy 2 were either the 2nd or the 20th of October, and I can't remember which one was which. So if one of you guys can look that up to be clear, that would be rad. But the other bus trip will be on October sometime.
Okay.
So
there you go. Yeah. So
kind of the orders of business until next week.
Yeah, send some messages of what you guys feel, obviously, for but just to kind of get a feeling for who wants to go on these away trips, and just say something like, "Oh, I'm excited to go out to Oakland," or "Oh, I'm excited to go out to Vegas," or whatever it may be. Give us kind of a feeling of what you're thinking, because we definitely want to do this, but we want to make sure that enough people go. And I think Orange County, we want to top that. I would hope that we can top that, and even if it's not 2 buses, would be rad. And
easily, come on, Saturday. It's only an hour and a half. Let's go.
It's a weekday. It's a weekend.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
and I think part of that is with Vegas too, and other spots, letting us know what kind of trip you want. We could plan a trip where, hey, we all are in the same hotel block, we're all doing the same stuff. Like, that could be the trip. Or do you want to have a more individual trip with the game and then certain things leading up to it? So that's the other stuff that discussion-wise, let us know. Give us your feedback. We're going to be doing some stuff coming up to solicit your feedback, specifically more in better filtered channels. Yes. But the Discord is always great for that. So that's what the Away Days channel is there for, is to discuss this kind of stuff. So have at it and let us know.
Talk about it. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say we talked about it last week a little bit, but we want to do a member survey. We are actively working on that. Our director of marketing, Nicole,
I didn't want to pin you into this already, but there you go.
Has extensive experience with surveys, and I'm going to lean on that heavily. We're going to do a big member survey. We're going to, how's the march? How is the parking lot? How is communications going? How is this section? What are the chants? Like, we want your guys' feedback, because really, like we've said a lot on this podcast and in general, in person, we are nothing without you guys, and we want to hear from you. So Discord is one great way to do that, but a member survey is kind of a way to reach everybody, and it's a way to do it anonymously so that, you don't feel weird about expressing an opinion. You can just express it.
You
Which,
just be like, fuck that Jerry guy.
that's Steve guy's a bully.
Never do a podcast without Jerry. Just don't record without him. You guys should just not record when that'll be the feedback.
But really, it means everything to us. So we are working on that. I'm hoping to have that.
For sure.
I was hoping by this weekend, but it might not happen. So maybe early next week. Then we'll take that, and we'll really, if we get a lot of feedback, like Jerry, you mentioned, and you kind of touched on this earlier, some chant stuff we've gotten some feedback on in the Facebook group, in our Discord. This is kind of a springboard to having those conversations with not just like the people that are contributing to the Facebook conversations or the Discord conversations, but a general audience, and we get a lot more feedback, and then we can have a better discussion on it internally and say, well, look, a lot of people want it this way, so maybe we consider changing that, and we actually do something about it. So keep that open. We really want genuine feedback. Don't hold back, and please take your time filling it out. You guys make us what we are. So keep that open. It's coming.
Totally.
I love this comment from Jason. I'm in on the OC trip solely so that I don't have to stare directly into the sun.
Yeah,
that was bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to be fair, there's less glare in person. It's
Dude,
nice. You're under the overhang.
So
it's
nice.
a beautiful little stadium. Just come join us.
So much.
They have California Pizza Kitchen in there. It's the OC. Marissa's there. She's alive. It's great from the OC.
Let me tell you a little story about California Pizza Kitchen. So I was already feeling good. All right, we had the trip. I had maybe 4 or 5 beers before, strong.
Yeah, that was we hit it strong. Yeah,
strong
exactly.
beers, and my dad was with me. We were having a great time. I was bonding with my dad like no other time I've been with him, and I was like, "Do you want another beer?" When we got there, and he's like, "Yeah, see me." And so I went, and it was at the California Pizza Kitchen place. I don't remember what I drank or what I bought my dad because I was already drinking. Later on, my wife goes, "Hey, were you at California Pizza Kitchen recently? Where did this come from?" And I was like,
"Yeah, why did you spend this much at
California Pizza Kitchen at all?" I was like, "When was this?" He was like, "This is a Wednesday." I was like, "No," and I couldn't remember for the life of me. And
you
I was like,
"Fight this charge."
I was like, "Yes." I actually got to the point where I was fighting the charge, and then while I'm talking to the gentleman, I was like, "Wait a minute, where was this at?" He's like, "Oh, somewhere in," and he didn't say it was in Orange County because it's reading at something else.
Yeah, wherever they're corporate, yeah.
And I was like, "No, what?" And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, "Wait, what day was that?" He goes, "Oh, that was Wednesday." I was like, "Oh man, I just remembered what it was." It's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I did spend that. That's a proper charge. I'm sorry." And they're like, "Oh no, I'm glad you could figure it out." Obviously, they were glad that I wasn't gonna fight. But then I was like, "Damn it, man! I should not drink that much anymore." But
they're still not cheap beers, so you're still spending $40 at California Pizza Kitchen. You're like, why am I spending $40 at California Pizza Kitchen?
What was that? Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly where I was at. So the reason I tell you this, and everybody of our listeners, just to say, our trips are so much fun. I can't wait to do it again.
You forget when you bought beers from a California Pizza Kitchen inside a stadium. That's how good it was. Just a random tent. That's the weirdest part. But yeah, it's going to be great. So just give us feedback. Let us know. And we're a member-driven community, as Steve was saying. I think that's really what we're getting at here, as Jerry said too. It's your feedback in terms of what we want to hear from you. And your dad was my bus buddy on the way back. It was so fun to be able to chat with him and just kind of break down some of his experience. But it's what it's all about. So give us your feedback and join us on the bus next time that we go out. The other thing is that I've got a really fun stat. Is that it's Sean Kelly's birthday. That's the stat that I have. So
Good.
happy birthday, Sean Kelly.
Happy birthday, Sean Kelly.
How many days old is he?
I know, right? He is 3,560 days old.
He is
Actually,
365 days older than the last time his birthday happened.
Whoa.
Fun stat.
Is that
gnarly
nuts?
stat?
Happy birthday, Sean Kelly. We are so honored to have you
Yes.
be a part of this family because you definitely are already, whether you like it or not. And your stats honestly make everybody else's lives that much more fun. So happy birthday, man. That's awesome. That was a good. That's good. I love that, Drew. That was a really good segue.
What?
Drew.
I have a fun stat.
Yeah.
It's his birthday. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, July 15th is his birthday. I don't know what year, but yeah, it's great to have him in the community, and he is somebody who always makes me laugh and informs me at the same time, and I always find that to be an amazing skill that he has, because it's not just that he drops information. He always does it in a delightful and entertaining way that I think is, especially for a statistician, is pretty impressive and pretty incredible with the amount of data that he looks over. So thank you for being a part of this community and always being engaged and always giving us your information pro bono in a lot of ways, just because you just love it so much and you love the aspects of it, and we can tell. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
With that being said, I think this is a perfect time, just because it's on a positive note. We're gonna stick around for a little bit after this, but if you are listening in our just audio, we want to wish again happy birthday to Sean Kelly, obviously, on behalf of us and Stevie Wonder, and also just say, we'll see you next time. We have a lot to cover. We're probably gonna come on and talk a little bit about the next match, maybe a little bit. It's gonna be an important one. It definitely is going to be an important one.
We got a whole week.
We may talk some shit on some other stuff right now, actually, if you want to stick around. So if you're listening on audio, go back and watch it on YouTube on Bump TV. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. For Mr. Steve Brokoff and Mr. Drew Steck, my name is Jerry Jimenez. Do the Loyal Locals podcast and watching Drew do the chicken wing. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
It's time for a proper post show.
And we're back. I don't even know why I have this fucking thing next to me, dude. I just like in case a cumbia breaks out or something. I don't know.
So on that note, we're going to segue into chant chat. We want brass. Are you a trumpet player? Are you a tuba player? Would you like to play brass?
Drew, are you a brass player?
Who wants brass?
On that question, I'm going to use the bathroom.
Brass. People want brass. People are saying they want brass, but that's not really what we're here to talk about. So if you want to play brass, let us know. If you keep suggesting brass, that's great. People have said they want a tuba, they want a trumpet. I don't know.
Really?
It's in the comments. Yeah, we'll see in the survey.
Can they play the instrument?
That's my question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm not suggesting it because I play trumpet and I could relearn trumpet and buy one, but I'm not going to be the person who says we need more trumpet, because I could do something about that, and I probably will soon. But I'm not going to suggest it till I have a trumpet in my hand and I can do something about it. So Tom, if you do want to do that, help us out.
Yeah, Tom, what's Dad's birthday? When is Dad's birthday? What are we talking about? When is Dad's birthday? Are you talking about on the weekend, maybe, that we play Phoenix? Because that's gonna be a bummer that we're gonna miss you, but I totally get it. Take some of your finest wares. Okay.
I look like a European merchant. I'll take some of your finest wares. Here, the haberdashery.
What? Who else is today? Mine, Charles. I'm like feeling it today.
Yeah, my first meeting my meetings this morning were like, I literally had to apologize for half my meetings today. I was like, I went to a soccer match last night, so that's why I sound like I'm dead, which was funny.
Oh, we sang for Pop's birthday in the 74th tonight at OB's. That's right. Hey, what was the final score between the men's national team and Was it the
Nope.
Trinidad? No, it was
561. I don't know.
Martinique, who makes a great rum, by the way.
Dude, that's what I've
out of sugar or molasses, not sugar cane, which is normally not how they make rum.
No shit. Okay, so let me see.
6-1.
6-1.
6-1. Holy shit.
Similarly, the score of the Loyal Select game was 3-0 to OC, by the way. That's why you stay tuned to the post show. Find out these fun facts. Nick Duffy dropped that in the comments earlier. No, it was OC.
What? OC, what?
Our Loyal Select versus OC's
Academy.
Oh,
we didn't talk about Loyal Select.
We talked a little bit, but we didn't wrap back up to it. But Chant Chat, Jerry, let's talk about Chance.
Started out to Tom's dad yet? I see many comments, and shame on me for not remembering. But yeah, shout out to Tom's dad. Happy birthday
today.
Tom,
Mr. Phillips Senior is has had a rough year, so I'm glad he got out today. I was pretty bummed I couldn't make it down to O'Brien's, but yeah, shouts. Pretty good to see him out and about just from the pictures I've seen. So shouts to Tom's dad. He's an awesome guy, and if you guys, I'm gonna derail this post game show.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, this is an important thing.
Many moons ago, we were at Qualcomm Stadium. I think it was still Qualcomm back then. It was a women's national team game, and we were tailgating like in the parking lot, the AO tailgate, and it was time to march in. And the march kind of left, and me and Tom and Tom's dad kind of stayed behind and cleaned up. And we were like, okay, let's take one shot before we go in. So we were about to do a shot. And I think Tom's dad took one, and then he refilled his own shot, and we all kind of walked in together, and we caught up to the march because the march is usually pretty slow. And we walk in we go in the stadium. Everybody's checking their stuff. You scan your ticket. You go in the section, and they look over, and Tom's dad is holding his shot glass full of alcohol. Like it's a plastic shot glass. The plastic ones. He's holding his plastic shot glass, and I look over at Tom, and I go, "What?" And then Tom's dad takes a shot, and I'm like, what the hell? And then later I talk to him, and he goes, "Yeah, he just told him it's his medicine." And he just walks in the Qualcomm Stadium, and he's holding a literal shot of alcohol, and he goes, "It's my medicine. You can't take this from me. It's my medicine." It's just where Tom gets his audacity from. That moment.
Oh my God.
I knew it. That moment I was like, I know. This makes a lot more sense than it did before.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just unbelievable. But yeah, shouts to him. He's an awesome guy. I know he's got a rough year. He's in recovery. Yeah. Things as far as I know are looking good. And I pray, I hope for the best. I think about him every day. So yeah. Love you, bro. Hope you're doing well too, Tom. Yeah.
Another turnaround of Sun, and Tom, congrats on having a nice moment here. And been a shit year for a lot of people, but I know for your family it's been especially tough. So great night, and hope to see the elder Mr. Phillips around a little bit more as well as we can. But no, it's pretty special. Yeah, that story totally sums up Tom. Like that's a Tom story. Like if you told that with Tom in it, it's like, yeah, it's just Tom. That's his dad.
It's so good.
Dude, I've had the honor of meeting him and talking to him, and
he's awesome guy.
Definitely an amazing person. He's a character for sure, and you could tell the man has a lot of knowledge in his head. Like you can just see it. And when you talk to him even for just a little bit, it's just like, whoa, dude, like this guy has seen some things and knows some things, and it's just lots of love for the Phillips family in general, and obviously Tom. I don't know if you guys did. I mean, we did.
You guys gonna leave me on the big screen?
Great work with the director of. Sorry. Thank you. The director of philanthropy. He's been doing just a great job. And so with our work with, friendly reminder, if any of you have not paid for whatever reason, the Pride Raiser, go and donate now. Do what you were supposed to do. I ended up doing just $1 more. than what I was supposed to do than I said, because I wanted to be an even 25. So it was 24, but I did 25 and then paid for taxes, and it ended up being like $27 to make sure that the center got, you know, some the money that they were not promised, but I mean that we all said that we would help in. So golly, man, what a difference it makes to, you know, not only like start this thing, but like what a difference a couple of years makes in feeling like you're a part of the community. Because right now I feel like we are 100% a family. Like it feels that way to me. And on a Wednesday, that game made me feel it so much more. And even though I didn't like get to talk to all of the people that were there, a lot of the members in 109 came up and did say hi, and I could just feel it. Like we were all. It wasn't like you know, they were there for just to watch a match. It was there. They were there to experience something along with the rest of us and be a part of it. And the moment that I felt that was when they scored a goal. Like literally, that's when the momentum shift. Like I feel it. Like it was there, and the stadium felt nice, and it was like normal. You know, we're doing our thing, but the moment they scored, a shift happened. Just like this is where we be, right? And Steve, you said there wasn't as many people in numbers in 109 as there normally would be on a weekend. Imagine if that was a packed section on a weekend and that happened. Dude, just right. I can't wait. It's gonna happen, and I can't wait.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier that this is maybe the best game we've had in person, and I think it's.
Oh, I didn't talk about that yet.
There's something about a comeback that really is just it's just so different than like 619 Day was rad, but like we were like rolling on the ground to waste time, right? Like that's different than that's different than like what happened.
It wasn't
here.
a
Like,
down a man
like,
and coming
this was
back.
Like heart and soul and like
sports movie shit,
grasping, like really pulling teeth to pull out the win, and we did it. And it's a different. It's I don't know. I consider I was buzzing that night on the way home. This morning, woke up, went to work, tried to work, but you just feel it. You feel that like this game mattered. This is like, I know we're on a 9-game home winning streak or 9-game undefeated streak. Sorry, not non-defeated streak, but this still feels like a turning point, right? Like it almost just feels like that. It feels like you're like, oh, we were down a man, down a goal, 30 minutes left, and we pulled out a 2-1 victory against the second place team in the division. That matters. So still can't think about anything else, you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to pull up this the video of the speech that our gaffer gave the players afterwards.
Yeah.
Bro. Oh, shoot. Lots of it.
I was also going to say John in his tweets, as we praised his article, in one of his tweets, though, he said, so he was replying to somebody who said, yeah, it sounds like you figured it out. Or actually, this was in a Discord, never mind, private conversation. But one of the things he talked about was seeing us, somebody was like, oh, it sounds like you made it perfectly what it was. And he's like, actually, I don't know if I have, because I've just scratched the surface of the iceberg, right? There's so much more here. Like everything's so much bigger than even what I've experienced in my first game, but I love it. But he was saying, I saw them care for a child together. Right, that's a family. Like before the game, and we do. We pass around Bryce and that kind of thing, and it's we do it. But it's like, that's part of the thing, right? And like Nicole was having him at the top of the section before he came back down at the second half. Yeah, and but just the way we interact with your child, and partially just as a family, like, and it's not just with your child, but with Jerry's children and everybody else's children within the family here. It's a group that grows to be more than just people that are fans together. They're literally, entwining with each other's, children to help raise as a village and as a group. So it is one of those things that I think is kind of, and banging the drum and teaching rhythm, right, to Bryce, of not just bang the drum, let's bang, 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 right? And it's cool to see that development over time. Yeah. Right.
All of it will be there because the videos, Jerry, of you and Diego, a couple weeks ago. Diego was banging that drum, and he was getting some rhythm. He was getting into it. And then I know Adrian. He has a son, and Adrian's son was playing the drums a couple weeks ago too. So it really does, like, you start to see these people that you know bring their families along. And we talk about Bryce a lot because Bryce is kind of apathetic in pictures and pretty memeable. But
it's great.
I know. But when you get older kids that actually care, like Diego and like Adrian's kid,
Totally.
You start to feel like you're making a difference, not only in San Diego Loyal, but in the culture and the community that we're building. So, it's
Eric's son, who shows up and waves a flag every game with Eric too, Wilkie, who we shouted out earlier. Like, dudes are like number one flag waver over there, just showing up, waving, game in, game out. So, it's impressive to see the young following here that's already developing. That'll surely surpass us and run miles down the road from where we've been, which is always the hope. And that's the dream, right? Is bringing up the youth. So it's fun to see, but it's all that kind of good stuff.
Check this out. This was today before I came on the podcast. My kids decided to bring their drums out, and this is completely like, I didn't say, hey, you bring out the drum, don't do this. I can't actually show you guys the video, but if you want to go follow my wife on Instagram, I would recommend it. She's amazing. And she has some pretty cool stuff that she posts. She'll post a lot about my boys and then her work. But just for this, it's worth it. Nydia L. Jimenez. It's Nydia. So Nydia and Lydia. I don't know how that worked out, but that's an easy way to remember it. Nydia L. Jimenez. Listen to this real quick. If I can get it. Hold on. Oh, it's not playing it. Oh, no.
Well, go check out the Instagram.
Yeah, go check out the Instagram.
Well, no, I was saying I got a story about this because we were cleaning up in 109 on last night. Oh. You got it? There you go. Oh, my God.
That was,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
Completely like, I didn't tell them to play this. They just took out the drums out, and all of a sudden you have these 2 and 5-year-olds. Oh my God. I wish I could show you guys the video. It's the cutest thing. They're just on the couch banging away. So that's you guys. That's not necessarily me, because they've seen me and they're like, that's dad. But everybody has a hand in these kids learning to be supporters and like falling in love with the culture.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal, man. It's a really, really big deal.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, my son is 17 months, and he's walking, and every week I take a drum home and I throw it in my garage, and every week, every day, he sneaks out of our house in the garage and he finds himself banging on that drum, and I'm like, "Where's my kid?" And I hear it, and I'm like, "He found the drum. He found the drum." He loves that thing. I mean, I was in Phoenix working for the couple months I missed the first couple watch parties, and Jerry, everybody knows that was there. He found those drums, and he's only loving them more. But the story I was going to tell was in 109 when we were cleaning up yesterday, Nydia, your wife, was like, "Hey, Steve, do you need us to take anything? We can take one of those drums if you need to." I was like, "Thank you so much," because we only brought one down. Chappie brought one on the way down, but he left before that. Chappie's wife is like 38 weeks pregnant. So, So when your wife said that, I was like, "Thank you so much. Whatever you can take, I appreciate it." He's like, "Yeah, we can take the white mini bass, that mini bass." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great. Oh my gosh, thank you." And then I was like, "Here's the sticks." And she's like, "Oh no, like, we can keep those." And I was like, "We can keep those if you need to." And I was like, "We can take them if you want them. You can keep them together." And she was like, no. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense. And she's like, "Well, I think that's not a good idea because you're kids."
Yeah, we have a
But-
lot of drumsticks here, by the way. But
Yeah.
here's
But
the thing that I'm excited for.
those are the mallets.
Yes. So yeah,
But-
they were. So what you heard in the audio is actually them playing the mallets on their like kid drum.
Oh
So,
yeah.
thanks, Steve.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, it's part of.
But I do appreciate it.
Dude,
So
it's like honestly, I'm going to put them through some sort of drumming classes because both of them, and it's funny because I think
They got rhythm.
Even as two,
Yeah.
they have rhythm. Yeah, dude,
They totally have rhythm. I don't like. I've always said like people are like, why don't you drum? I'm like, I just don't have good rhythm. Like I get off beat. I get too excited. I'm too ADD. I'll buy a trumpet. I do melody, but I'm just my rhythm. And you know, as a musician, do I have this or do I not have this? And they totally have it for sure.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I've always listen. Like it took a long time for me to get to where I was. I was a music major in college for, for 2 years, and I studied music, and I'm able to play 8 different instruments now, even. And that's not to show off. That's to say, like, it took me a while to get to the point to where I understood how to play music properly, and I have a certain way of listening to somebody when they're playing, and I can tell you, okay, you're like at this level, you need to work on this. And my kids were born with something. Your kid, Steve, was born with something, and I hear it in a bunch of people where I can tell that they have a certain beat that's already a part of them that we just have to like encourage. And so that's part of what we're doing here as well. Music, here's the thing with music, like, yeah, this is a supporters group, and what we really do is we go to a match and we support our club. We're there 90 plus, and we push them to make a 1-0 loss into a 2-1 win. Like that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, there's these kids that are joining in now that I see get into it, like Eric's kid as well. I mean, waving the flag, and I think that he may eventually become somebody within our group. Like you see the youth coming in, and it's our responsibility to show them something new and to encourage them to learn these things. Music is helpful in every aspect of life, and so I'm just excited to be a part of that as well, and help some of these kids like come in and honestly learn how to play an instrument, maybe, and learn how to keep a beat, if that only, and then eventually, it ends up making them better humans because they all of a sudden are like, hey, like we're building this community, and you can talk to people, and you go and are building something like we are. Just like Tom said, youngsters raised right to replace us. we can't do this forever.
No, for real.
And eventually these kids will all be taking over what we're doing right now. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's in game.
Well, that and I would say we are actively looking for more drummers. So if you have drumming experience,
I don't want to drum.
We wanna rotate week in, week out. Like Alan has stepped up, Andrew stepped up, Jerry, you stepped up this past week. Adrian is always drumming. And there's people that show up wanting to drum every week, and there's people that are, maybe wanting to drum every other game, but since we don't have people to fill in, they're ending up doing it every week. So if you do,
my dream would be for Alan,
experience, or you want to try it out, reach out to us, contact us. We do drum circles. We haven't really done one mid-season yet, right? But maybe we could or should.
We'll do one soon. Yeah.
And I waxed poetic about Alan like drumming earlier, but like the other thing is like my dream would be to be able to let him do a full game where he can be a fair pod guy and like do a write-up for a game, just because he's also incredible at that, and he does a really good job in that capacity too. So it'd be really fun to give him that opportunity just to be able to say, you know what, you don't even have to worry about it this match, right? And so again, that comes by people stepping up and just saying, just don't wait to be asked, and we'll ask you if you can, but just step up. There's open seats, and if you want to come in, someone will gladly let you drum for a half. And if you're only, hey, I can only do a half, sure, well, that's great. That's a way to start. Most, as we said, capoing, you're not going to do it for a full game. You just can't, because the energy to be able to do it and do it correctly. I mean, it's like certain people, maybe I'm only going to do it half of a half, and that's okay. It's just knowing what you're limited and what you can do and where you're at. But just step in, just slide in. You'll be surprised how far you can go. I always think that's
and more of it,
another nice
more of
thing
it
too.
to me is it's a long season, right? Like Jerry was you guys weren't there that match, and if I need to take a couple matches where I can't be there and Kevin has to work, or like then who's gonna fill in? We need to find people who are like, we got to rotate in, rotate out, and it's not just for like keeping fresh, but it's also for it's a long season, man. We started in March, in October. It's 7 months, really, and there's a lot of home matches. It's 16 home matches. It's a lot. So we need to find people who are willing to do this and train people. Like Nick killed it. Andrew killed it. He's killing it. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We got to do this. All right, Jerry, go.
But like the one thing too that I was thinking about is the tifo. Somebody was commenting on making like a bigger tifo, and you're saying it's a long season. So, and Travis will gladly tell you there's a lot of work that goes into making a big tifo like the one that we did for the home opener. But we are going to have another one. We're going to be doing another one for this year. Here's the thing too, they're very expensive. The material to make them, I mean, these are up for
400, 500 bucks.
30 seconds maybe, and you're looking at close to $500+ to make one tifo, depending on what connections you have. And luckily you're
not even including the beer price there. It's astronomical.
We're spoiled. I mean, you're looking at some of these can cost up to like a couple grand if you're doing it on the MLS scale. So for us, we're lucky in that it's maybe a little bit cheaper because we have some resources. But we're going to be doing one. I think that maybe for the Phoenix game we might. I'm going to push to do something smaller, but still do something interesting because I think that we have to, especially with it being our day that we do our Pride celebration.
Yep.
So we're definitely going to be showing up, doing some things there. And so keep an eye out for that. We're talking about, I see some Cutwater talk in the chat. I mean, dude, I just had my first Cutwater frozen margarita.
Oh, the lollipops? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Those
my
so
God,
good.
they're so good.
Yeah,
So
it's like the way that if you're going to do a frozen margarita, like why not as an Otter Pop? Like it makes too much sense to have it as a Freezy Pop kind of like deal. But yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
I do think they're ideal, and as Steve said, they're not Stone. Stone blots out the sun, unfortunately, for our club on the chest. They're always going to be the people that rule the
we'll
roost.
Get seltzers now, though.
When it comes to
seltzers,
like from Stone. So
but to Andrew's new comment there, not artistic at all. I am not artistic at all either, but we have artists, and the artists produce. That's why it takes a village. We've said this since the start. Like Travis is incredible. Like he makes so much good content, and Jerry, you too. Like you guys are so artistic, and you guys make up so much good stuff, and then we can all, as a village, put the work in to make it a reality. And like that's why this is such a beautiful thing, because it's one thing for Jerry, you or Travis to put something on your computers and do some design, but it's another thing to make it a reality. And like that's what we're kind of finally at that point where we say, yeah, this is fucking cool. Let's do that next.
Well, building material that lasts, that you can carry on a 2-stick for multiple games. Like you can paint it on a bed sheet, and that's awesome. And we love that DIY aspect of like just rip it and rip it.
Or that's what the Black Lives Matter one is on. It's a queen bed sheet. Yeah,
it's like you can do it like totally. So just like grip it and rip it, but like at a certain point, like you also have to think about this kind of stuff where it's not just like, hey, just paint a thing on thing, and we again go ahead and do it if you can do it. But like there's like thoughts to it too. But we're always here to help.
Before you play this, I want to shout back to David Chamberlain. David is the president of AO San Diego. David is currently in Kansas City. He has been in Kansas City for the U.S. Gold Cup. And that's pretty cool that he's tuning in. Is it 3 hours or 2 hours ahead of time? Regardless, that's rad. So
even Corbin's not tubing in. He was having too much fun in the game, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I just wanted to give that quick shout before he passes out.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
That's fair. All right, let's play this real quick.
Let's go.
The reaction is what matters, right? And so I'm really demanding of you guys because we don't want to just piss around and be another fucking USL team. We want to be the best. So in the moments, it's fine. You guys can get mad at me, but it's because I want us to be the best, and you guys deserve it.
What did he do to make
him
mad?
I'm proud of you guys for the effort you put in. I love the spirit on the team, on the sidelines. Guys who get subbed out are just as in the game as when they're on the field. guys who deserve to start tonight. Toomey and E came in were fucking monsters, right? They could have made a case and they should have been starting. It made my job really fucking hard. And you guys just came in and did your fucking job and balled out. And I'm really proud of you. That's how real teams win championships. At the end, if you guys want to be the best, you want to hold a trophy, that's how you do it. So really fucking proud of you guys. Enjoy the 4 days. Enjoy them. And then we come back on Monday and we get after it for Phoenix. Okay? Great fucking.
Dude. Dude, that's just like so. I think a few people said I'm ready to run through a wall right now.
That was some Bruce Arena shit. That was some, but like the guy who's the other guy though? What's the GIF you always use, Jerry, where the guy's just like, and just Steve uses it too, where the guy's like, like that coach guy. That's
yeah. the basketball, the college basketball.
College basketball coach. Yeah, I forget what his name is, but yeah, that guy. That's kind of how I feel at the end of that. But yeah, it's like he's right. But like, I like that there's a fire, that it's never like, hey, it's settled here. It's like, it's always like, even though they know what they're supposed to do and what the roles are, it's always kind of like, let's keep pushing, because that's what you got. He knows what you have to do to excel and win, obviously. And so it's interesting to see that, along with, and we were trying to talk about on this show, and I forgot to get to it a bit, but Nate's ability to push and see in players what they're supposed to do in a system and keep knowing that the system's going to work, even though in the first 4 to 5 games we were like, is the system really going to work? Mm-hmm. Right? And like, both of them doing their job kind of in sync to pump up the team, keep their head in the right place, keep them firing, and keep the people even on the bench coming up and having the right momentum, to where maybe if you lose a Miguel Berry, if you lose Mayer, these certain players that were staples while they were here, you could still sub in somebody like Montgomery and get some production right directly out of that. And so like, that's been perfectly what it's been fun to see in terms of like, and that's the culmination there of, I think, emotionally in the locker room, what we felt after the game, which is pretty cool to see that synergy of like, I see you, like it's exactly how we felt.
Yeah, a quick shout out, actually, since we're already like off the actual pod. I think I can say shout out to Los Verdes over in Austin. Yeah. I think you guys may have seen that. So there's a gentleman that said it's been cool seeing the culture in Austin be so strong already, both on TV and when I went in person. They went 90 minutes, impressive. So, and he's responding to John Gennaro's article. He said, I totally get how fun and engaging it can be. So basically kind of comparing us to Austin in a small way, saying, hey, like, I get it. The way that you described it, I just experienced that with Los Verdes. And it's like, dude, well, that's rad. And so Los Verdes, who's the supporters for ATX, they said appreciate it, and you should go support San Diego Loyal with the locals, and they tagged us on it. So that's rad, man. Like, this is an MLS supporters group that's, new to the league, but that is also newly formed and have been doing so good in supporting their club and are recognizing us in the lower division in USL. It's a big deal to me, and I think for all of us, we should say, hey, like, that's rad. So we're doing the right things. It feels good to get some sort of recognition. I think the New Mexico United supporters recently said something to us as well, and I think people are, now starting to notice us a little bit more and saying, hey, man, those guys and gals in San Diego are doing some pretty cool things over there. So that's
nice.
What we're talking about, man.
And I feel bad for Los Verdes too, because they kind of get some shit for like Austin FC, and it's like they don't choose how they got a team, right? Like you can't choose how you get a team some ways, and like, to be fair, it worked out for everybody, but at the same time, they've been rooting for a team for years. That group of people had really been rooting for a team for years, and they didn't want necessarily the way it happened, but sometimes when you're building that momentum and you end up in that position, you end up with the club, and luckily it didn't cost Columbus at all, and they actually ended up in a better position. So it's one of those things where I always felt bad for them, because it feels like they almost people overlook them and say like, it's Austin, whatever. It's this thing that is whatever. It's very MLS. But the supporter culture has been really great there, and they've done a fantastic job of bringing it up in a great city that's really changing and evolving really quickly. Austin's just an incredible American 21st century story in terms of what's happening there. If you haven't looked demographically, like how it's changing, what's happening, it's just really interesting to see compared to most of Texas and most of the world really in the last 5-10 years. So it'll be really interesting to see how the club and the culture evolves along with that, to some degree. But the shout out's awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, talking supporters groups in our real first year, can you guys think of a better atmosphere than what we've created? I mean, obviously we can really only do it through television, but like we were at Orange County and you know what I mean? Phoenix, I was at the Phoenix match. Phoenix, they bring it. We hate them and they're our rival, no doubt. But they bring it, and respect to them. But throughout the league, I mean, I've been watching a lot of games, and it seems like we have done this in 7 games. And I'm really, really, really proud of the work we've put in, and I'm really proud of the community that we've built, and that's shouts to all of our listeners and watchers and members. So I'm like, I don't know. This is exceeded my wildest expectations of what we've done.
Yeah, the one thing too is I would say like for the Pacific Division, Phoenix maybe has it figured out, but everybody else, I mean, there's Sacramento Tower Bridge Battalion is doing good things, but
good point. Yeah,
they're not quite with us already. Like, I mean, Tower been around for a long time, and I don't think that they're quite as a support group as it used to be in the beginning. You're looking at Las Vegas, and Lucy Fuerza got called out by Electric Company. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they're doing the P chant.
Ooh, no.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
mega yikes.
Mega yikes.
Critical high yikes. You know what
I mean? So there's that
dial. Oh.
Yeah, and I'm looking more into it, and you know what's sad is that there's people that are saying like, "Oh, you rats! Why would you call us out like that? Like that's not the way that we see it." And it becomes like this whole Mexican thing where all of a sudden they're defending the fact that they're doing the P chant. So it's really bad, and like it got to the point where Electric Company is no longer like tagging the Lucy Fuerza people in it anymore. And we're gonna see a lot more of that. But again, I'm very proud of where we are. We still have a long way to go in San Diego, with the locals, with Xolos, with Rainbow Oils, and with anybody else that may come along, right? Apostates, and maybe we'll eventually talk about them as well.
Sure.
There's more groups that are coming in that are trying to, claim their spot in this supporter culture, and that. And family, yeah, and that's absolutely welcome, 100%. And I'm excited for all of that. As long as we can all have conversations, talk about our likes, our dislikes, and then make this San Diego and make it work on game day, because that's at the end of the day what matters. And honestly, like you mentioned, Steve, to kind of close it off before we have to go, the Pacific Division right now, I mean, it's a strong. The teams themselves are very strong. It's a strong division, but the supporters, if you pull the supporters out and create the supporter division of the Pacific, it's Phoenix. And I'm not trying to be, obviously
incendiary.
They like, I'm part of San Diego Loyal supporters group. So I'm going to say this. Phoenix is fantastic and they've had their time to build. So I'm going to put them on top, but I would 100% without a question put us right up there with them, like right away.
Yeah
And we should need a pulley system.
And what would be so fun is if we could bring a contingent up to Sacramento in late August and really do 50 strong up there and really bring the noise. So anybody still watching, anybody still listening, I think it's August 28th at Sacramento. That would be a ton of fun. So I am personally planning on making that trip currently. I haven't booked flights or anything yet, but I will do that as soon as I possibly can. But keep the calendar open for that date because I think that would be a pretty fun trip to kind of bring a good contingent up. We did that with Orange County, and we obviously made a difference.
Let's go.
So yeah. Southwest.
I honestly don't know if I would be able to make it. I'm gonna be in Minnesota from the 25th. I leave on the 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, and come back the 27th, which is the Friday before. I would try to go though, because that sounds like a lot of fun. So what is that?
It's a pretty inexpensive flight. Usually it'll be a fun time, and it'll be the way they set up their stadium's really fun too. So Sacramento is going to be one of those games where, as Steve said, I think a good chance to announce our presence, not just regionally within the clubs around us, but kind of to the league at large. Phoenix, there's always going to be this weird, even if we showed up with 100 people, they'll act like we never showed up, or like take pictures from a certain angle that make it look like there's nobody there at like 15 minutes before the game begins or something. It's kind of like the weirdness with that group, but like with Sacramento, there's a mutual respect. I think that's kind of the fun part of this is finding that simpatico, and Oakland too, I think is what's really interesting. But Vegas is a party, but those two, Oakland and Sacramento, I think are more clubs that would be fun to have that kind of energy with, especially their supporters and us. That's similar to New Mexico, as you shouted out, or Vegas, and it's been nice to us as well too.
Well, let's be real. There's some good bum TV opportunities to go up there and review their beer, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. The whole series.
We trolled them last year pretty hard.
Yeah, if we're on the road, we're just going to be creating content when we're not traveling.
Was it Device Brewing, right? Device.
Oh, we've been failing to make some content, and I promise you, I will work on that. The Oakland match, like we could go as an activity before the match, help them put the field together. So there's a lot of things we could do.
The Oakland grounds crew.
I want to play. If I want to make the trip up there, I want to make sure we're going to play. Oh, here's the other thing. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Oakland actually had to cancel their match against Sacramento because of positive COVID tests.
Oof.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah.
Old Town is not doing well, Tom.
They've had a rough run up this year. They're leveling up to another rung of American soccer. Yeah. Arguably where they were with NISA, or NASL. Sorry.
Yeah. It just feels like a bad, like, they were so ready for USL Championship, and then their turf didn't come in, so they tried to make it work. It didn't work.
The transition's been rough.
It was just a really bad, like, mathematical equation that just failed. It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah. I feel bad for the supporters.
Yeah. The COVID stuff, too, I mean, it sucks.
I'm going to keep saying it forever and ever. The downfall of any football teams, and I'm talking about soccer, football team, is going to be not having enough time to make shit work. Are you hearing me, NWSL?
Yeah, this is a good thing to close on. Jason's got a question. Do supporters give groups gifts when not visiting, when visiting a non-rival group? Okay. Very, very common.
Yeah. Usually scarf exchanges happen when we are away and we travel, or groups come to us. If you want to take a scarf, be my guest, but it won't be like a locals kind of scarf exchange formal thing. When we were at Orange County, I made a specific point to go over to the Orange County group at halftime and give them a scarf. I did that as well for Phoenix as a customary thing. Obviously, we all kind of know, and we talked some shit afterwards. They weren't great when they were here, but
they literally mooned Steve when he walked away. He's being very nice. No, I'm just kidding.
As a customary thing, I wanted to take part in the traditions that are customary here. So a scarf was
make them customary. Yeah, that's one of the things for sure. Like, didn't you do that for Orange County?
Yeah. I went over there at halftime.
So there you go.
Yeah, he met the two people in their section, and one of them gave him a scarf. Great.
Wait, you didn't get an Orange County scarf, huh?
No, I did not. But I kind of sort of unexpected. We had talked to him a little bit beforehand and said do a scarf exchange, but we never really set up a time or a place. So I thought, I brought it. I wanted to give them what we had, regardless of if they brought one or not. give without the expectation of receiving. And so I did.
And as we know, nobody showed up for our match against Orange County, so there's that.
Correct.
To be fair, they have their own stadium, so it's like, yeah. I feel like transitive properties,
it's not a stadium.
once we get one, we can talk more shit. But yeah, I think it's one of those things too, where that's always the thing they can pull out on us. It is nice. The sun is not in your eyes when you're there, which is nice.
Shoot me a DM, Jason, and we'll make this happen. We got spare scarves.
This is true. Highly true.
This is very true. Very true. That's terrible.
Well said, Miguel.
But yeah,
well said.
Calling a night.
Why are you gonna go on? Yeah. Why are you gonna go on the trips?
This is why you gotta go,
Jerry. San Diego, we didn't even get to the big controversy.
You want to talk about this real quick?
We can
next week. We'll get there next week.
You can save it.
All right, cool.
After the survey.
I want to see more conversations because everybody's having conversations that aren't actually a part of the channel itself.
That's what I'm also curious about too.
I don't know if you've noticed. So I want them to keep these conversations going, because, and I won't take full responsibility, but it's kind of my chant.
That's what I was going to do that, but you were on vacation, so I didn't want to point it to you.
No, I'll eventually get in there. I just want to see what everybody else has. Because then I'll come with my mentality and maybe it will change some minds and maybe blow some minds. Maybe some people will be like, oh, that's why we do. Okay, so
part of what I think the discussion's great for is let's create new chants. And I think this is partially where Jerry's going, but I think part of this is like if you want to see a certain chant that uses certain words in a certain way, create that chant. Bring that to everybody, especially if it's a really simple chant. Simple chants work really well. So if you have a good simple chant with a good beat, we're gonna probably run that track because it is just a good thing to work in that makes it easier to work in. If you have a chant that's like 5 verses written after a Beyonce song, that's probably not gonna work. Just saying from experience as somebody who wrote one of those. So you want to write a simple one. And so like that's where again it's a great chant, and that's where Jerry, I think people love it, but I think there's almost some understanding as opposed to like what this chant is versus any chant that you might want to be a chant. And I think that's like what I'm loving the discussion driving towards. So like continue to think in that direction. Anybody who's still listening, like what kind of chants do you want to see? What words stick out to you that maybe would make sense, and think through kind of a beat or a melody that would make sense with that chant that sounds really good. And that's how these things get created. Yeah. So, and you're not going to maybe create 10 chants, but maybe you'll create one amazing really chant, out of 5 ideas that don't really go anywhere. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. And I think, like my biggest point that I'm looking at being discussed is we shouldn't be saying we are San Diego, not San Diego we are. We'll talk about it next week. Because I'll tell you why I do it, why it happens. Think about it actually for yourself. Try to figure it out and listen to it in your head. And then you will understand. And also consider that maybe the person, also consider that maybe the people and the person that created some of this stuff maybe has some experience in music. And that's Or a plan. Exactly. And I think a large part of this, and Drew, you mentioned it, like I'm enjoying the conversation because it should happen. And that's the whole point of this craziness that we're building here with the locals. That is that we want you all to be involved and to have conversations and to say how you feel and say, hey, maybe we should make this recommendation, do this instead of that. That's where we grow. That's where we become better. And that's what I'm excited for.
You brought it back to the survey, Jerry. Look at you.
Yeah.
It all goes back to the survey. That's why I like dance around it with Steve. I'm like, hey, we could do this, but he's like, yeah, the survey.
We're going. We're getting there. We're getting there.
I know. It'll be really fun to get the results, and that'll be a fun podcast, I think, with Nicole. So we'll that's a promo for maybe not the next week, but maybe the week. I think whenever we get the results start coming in, I think it would be a really good time to digest maybe why we ask certain questions certain ways, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see where that goes, for sure. To me, most your body.
Dude, it does.
There you go. Boom. This is
Damn,
how chants are created.
Yeah,
Bam.
this is why we want your feedback.
Boom.
Perfect.
Yeah, right here. Perfect.
Perfect.
Dude, that is.
We are
immaculate.
literally so one of the things that we I know Jerry, you like wanted to go half an hour ago, but one of the things that we talked about
Okay.
in the last kind of meeting we had was more player related chants and more being reactionary. Obviously the Hey Jude Trey Muse song is so good, and so we want more.
Right,
Jason,
yeah.
like you just said, we want more like that. So like if Toomey scores, we have something to sing for him, right? And if Trey makes a great save, we have something to sing for him. So it's the perfect example of what we're looking for from our members, because we work our asses off, and it's hard to work your ass off and be creative. So please contribute as much as you can, because that's like it's critical. It's just how we grow.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing was, that there's so many ideas still out there to be found, and we want all
Yeah.
of them. Like, just
Mhm.
please give us all the input. Like, that is perfect. Imagine if yesterday, actually, let's just say the club plays Seven Nation Army over the speakers whenever somebody scores. That's been done at other stadiums. I think maybe Galaxy or somebody else does it. But we all start doing to Mimo Shobane. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. The reactionary, like we were talking about the what's the one that we did yesterday? What did I just say about what did we do? Oh, the ref one. I think Austin was doing it. Something about doing a bong hit. Do you guys remember that one?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That was the top.
But I don't remember the exact thing.
Dude, it was so good. And when those come out of nowhere, like, that's my favorite. It's my favorite freaking thing ever.
And we take that with feedback, and then we have meetings about it, and then we incorporate it with the drummers. Then it becomes a real chant. It takes time to actually happen, but we want to make this stuff happen.
Yes, and then we get the like really good chants, like IAIO. Finally, we were trying it yesterday.
Yeah.
Dude, excited for it. So,
I know.
All right, we're gonna call it a night. It's 11:30. It's time to go. I have to go to work tomorrow. Do you guys have to go to work? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
referee. Oh, referee. Take another bong hit. Yeah, it's so good. All right, guys, that's gonna do it.
Then
For
the
us.
Tom runs the smoke.
So good.
I was gonna say
So good.
It's gonna do it for
All
us.
right, let's go. Let's call it.
Have a great night, everybody. What song should we go off with before we?
The
Good one.
Fox baseball theme. I don't know.
Hey, good night, you guys. Good night, Andrew.
That's their football one. That's the football. All their themes are pretty legit. They're all written by robots. Cletus, the football robot.
Oh, what? What's Charles saying? Songs with only O's?
Seven Nation.
The O. Yeah, no, the O. The Pennywise song that they play at the end. And then they only show the O's on the screen. Yeah, the Brohim.
Brohim.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, let's do Brohim. Yeah, that's a good song to do. That's the end of And today's.
See, we're going to play with a lot of O's in his name.
I freaking love Nate. So good.
I love that they put the lyrics on the screen, and it's just
Yeah, they shouldn't put any of the other lyrics.
I know,
don't put the other stuff up. Just the O.
I don't know why they do that. Also, go to our Discord and tell us how you feel about having chants on the scoreboard, like San Diego the local.
Everybody's universally panned that. Yeah.
I want to see what people want to say, dude.
Yeah.
No, Steve, I feel you, dude, but I also want to see what people think.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Have a good night.
True.
This is the song. All right. That's it. You guys ready to go? Bye, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.